Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic today. Let's analyze the situation for the price of Bitcoin right away. Much love to everyone. Thanks for joining today's live stream. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community. Of course, we are going to be analyzing the situation for the price of Bitcoin, getting a little bit of a rally, getting a little bit of a reclaim of the point of control. However, are we forming a zigzag move, corrective structure? We're forming another lower high just to dump very, very aggressively? Or are we actually forming something bullish here? Is this a three-wave move to the downside, which has completed a correction and now we're just ready to rally throughout the next coming days to claim above 64.7k? We're going to be talking about the levels, the opportunities, of course, the scenarios that would have the highest probabilities and the scenarios that would have the lowest probabilities, just based on my personal opinion, of course, right? My personal opinion, guys. The content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, any trading decision. I'm just a random dude here with a bit of knowledge that wants to share his own analysis and point of view here of the market. Let's say hello to the wonderful community right away, and we'll break down Bitcoin on the 1 hour 15-minute time frame. This is where the meat and potatoes is at the moment. Higher time frame, bear market to continue to the low to get to $40,000-$30,000. You know, let's talk about the lower time frame where we got the action. Where are the local trading opportunities? We want to trade. We want to make some gains, right? Bear market low at 30,000, 40,000 in October or whatever. Nobody cares. We want to trade. We want to make some gains for the week, right? Anyway, let's go through the comment section. We'll dive in and we'll break down what we mentioned yesterday, guys. Remember, we don't suddenly disappear and forget what we talked about yesterday. We need to talk about the levels from yesterday, the trading plans from yesterday, and follow up what's happening today, right? We like to follow up the map, the situation, the drawings, the waves, the levels. Are the levels getting respected? Are one of the scenarios that you mentioned yesterday, is it getting respected or not, right? Because we know how to project the map, the situation that could happen, right? We do have a few scenarios. We have levels, we have trading opportunities, and we project the map, and we love to go through yesterday's stream and say, right, this is what we talked about. We talked about A, B, and C. Which one played out? Which one is getting respected? Which one looks, good, for a trading setup? We're going to go through that right away. But first of all, let's go through the comment section. Smash up the like button, guys, if you want to see high quality analysis, predictions, levels, trading setups. Only the best here in the crypto YouTube space, guys. If you have someone better, let me know. I will do a trading competition with him. Okay? If there's anybody that you think is best than me or Devalt, I'm counting Devalt because Devalt's a legend. I will get in contact with this person to make a 1-month trading competition back to back. Our community against his, right? That would be awesome, right? Kind of a battle with the top crypto technical analyst traders out there. And I will prove that we are the best, right? That would be awesome. That would be legendary. Anyway, I'm a little bit overexcited today, guys. I'm not sure. I went for a good run. I've had some gazpacho. Anybody that doesn't know what gazpacho is, it's a cold tomato soup that we do here in Spain. You got tomatoes, cucumber, green pepper, a bit of garlic, extra virgin olive oil, vinegar, salt, and pepper. That's it. Woo, that's a good energy boost, okay, with a banana and a nice omelette of 4 eggs after a good run of 45 minutes, 7 kilometers. Feeling good, feeling healthy. That's what life's all about. Now I'm feeling happy to be here with the community. Okay, right, let's go right away. Legend is here. Let's go. Abandon music. Much love to you, my man. Let's go, let's go. Music B, how are you doing? Afternoon, Captain Andy. Trust you are well, champ. Let's go. Wayne, hope you're doing great also. Hope Devalt is having a few cold ones for all of us on this time away. Yes, he definitely is. I can tell you that. My cold one right now is this one right over here. Lemon, ice, water. I'm actually thirsty. Right. Andy is no bear. Washing his face before the stream as always. Yeah, I need a shave. Maybe this beard is not serious, right? This mustache. Do I look a bit homeless? Or does it need a bit... I think I need a tidy, right? How can you trust this guy with this mustache and beard? He looks scruffy. How can he call himself professional, right? Nowadays, I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's go. King K, legend. Destroy the like button, guys. Smash it up. Come on, you lazy buggers. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Trying to go through most of the comment section. Hello, legend. Can you please check XRP? I'm in a huge loss. Stuck in a long position from 123. Charbel, oh my goodness. I really want to help people. Okay, if someone is asking for help, right? We need to help. Right, huge in a huge loss. Okay, you're in a long position from 122. Your long position is in this area. Right, what's going on? What's going on with XRP? I think you might be okay. You might be okay. Price is slowing down. A little bit of a, attempting to double bottom from these lows that we did create here back in February. We got a bit of an order block right there, right? It's a weekly order block, or I don't know, maybe a 3-day order block. Yeah, you got a bit of a 3-day order block right there, which is trying to do its job. Nice order block, right? Where the price is, dancing around, right? You can see that 3-day order block that was created here back in 2024. That is what is providing a bit of support, right? We got a major reaction bounce. This was back in February from that order block. Okay, bit of a consolidation, very, 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 very bear flaggy situation. I'm not sure where you entered the long. Maybe here, maybe on this bounce. I would assume that if you are in a long from $1.22 here on XRP, sorry guys, we need to help this guy. We are here to help. We will go through Bitcoin right away, right? Even though I know some of you would say, well, screw that guy, go through Bitcoin right away. Let's try and give a hand here to this guy who's, sent a message saying, I'm in a loss. Is there any tips that we can give here? Of course, no financial advice, just opinion here, of course. Right, we got the bounce from the order block, 3-day order block right there. We formed a double bottom. I assume that you if you wanted to catch the low, and you miss the low, right? Risk management, stop loss at the low. You get a little bounce. You want to be defensive on that bounce, but you entered late, right? You did see the double bottom. I'm just assuming that you entered on this bounce that we got a couple of weeks ago in June, and now you are underwater here. It does look like it wants to kind of bottom out. Of course, I haven't been doing any analysis on XRP. And I have no idea about the waves and the situation. It is slowing down. It is finding support. And we are testing the lows with less power, right? And decreasing volume, which is a good sign. It's a good sign of slowdown here of the bears. Yeah, I'm assuming, only with a 5x, you could be getting liquidated very, very soon, right? Maybe if you're using a 5x, which is low leverage. It is high leverage for an altcoin. But if it comes down to 96 cents, if you're using a 5x, you're getting liquidated already at 96 cents. So I'm not sure what leverage you're using. I think you would have assumed to get stopped out really here, because if you come back down to the lows, then your next double bottom would be an entry, right? If you're slowing down with decreasing volume. So your entry for a double bottom is literally in this zone, right? As I do explain the SFPs a lot of the times, if we form a double bottom SFP, I do not want to enter if I'm entering late, okay? If this is your entry, We bounced here for a week, a few days, and I'm assuming that you entered here. I will not enter if I don't catch the ultimate low, right? It near close to the low where I can have a decent stop loss, and the price leaves without me. I'm not going to FOMO into that double bottom. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's against my rules. If I'm getting a double bottom or an SFP, it needs to be very close to the lows. If the price already moves 5-10% away from the price action, I'm not going to enter. So I'm sorry to say, but it should have been a stop loss. You should be out of the position. And you might be lucky because we've got decreasing volume as we do create lower lows, and you might get a larger reversal bounce, right? You might be lucky, but I'm not sure if you do get down here to sub $1.95, you're getting liquidated and it's 50% of your account or not. It's just irresponsible trading. It does look okay for a larger bounce, okay? But it really depends on what Bitcoin does as well, right? So you might be lucky, let's say, but this is not a game to see if you're going to be lucky or not, okay? It does look pretty okay for XRP. To potentially get a larger bounce here to the upside, okay? You've left this zone over here that can act as support. We're going to flip into Bitcoin right away, guys, okay? Value area high, point of control, this rally. Can we get another push to the upside? It does look a bit three wavy, right? Not that I want to put your... It does look a bit three wavy, I have to say, which is not great, right? The bounce here, you can see it's three wavy. You got the pullback. It just continued down, right? As this confirmed once we got this price action down to the lows. Second wave one, right? If it's going to be bullish, it is longer than the first wave one. The probabilities since you get this price action down here is that this is likely a three-way structure and the lows could be claimed. Unfortunately, here looking at the last few days on XRP, we did get a three-wave move up. We didn't get a 4 and 5. We didn't get an impulsive looking kind of price action to the upside. And it does look three-wavy. Could it form a double zigzag to the upside, right, where it zigzag down and then you get another zigzag up and it goes to your entry? That is pure speculation, of course. We are downtrending. So, yeah, it doesn't look extremely great. You might be lucky and you might get a double zigzag to the upside, but that's the only thing I can say at the moment. Anyway, we're going to dive in through Bitcoin. Okay, much love. Let me just go quickly through the comment section. Big dump incoming. Best alpha ever. Stay and learn. Thank you so much, Olivier, for the kind words. A trader, how are you doing? Smash up the like button, you legends. Good morning, Andy RC. A big ball, how are you doing? BTC going to 82k soon. Chichan, holy smokes, that would be awesome. If we were to get to 82k, that is very far away. My goodness. Are we going to form that inverted head and shoulder finally, right? To then break out, and 82k it is. Someone saying big dump, someone saying 82k. It's interesting, right? We've got a lot of personal opinions here. We're going to go through the lower time frames. Of course, that's where we got the meat and potatoes for the trading opportunities, right? We are traders. So we want to get the levels, the setups, risk management, and we're going to talk about what we mentioned yesterday here, guys. Okay, so stay tuned because there's one scenario that is looking like could be the one that is playing out, which is the bearish option, unfortunately. Bulls need to prove themselves. Andy in the house, Canada, much love. Fear and Greed, 74, dump time. Sub 60, then 70, Invicta. Maybe. Werner, how are you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. Here we go. Good morning, Ray K, Alex, Andy. Let's cool off over the weekend and dump to 60k before the next leg up. Much love. That would be awesome. Really. What's up, fam? Ilrich, how are you doing? Hello, smash the like button, please. Please smash up the like button. We got Stan here saying, please smash up the like. Thank you so much for the support. Anyway, Trading with no stop loss, scary. Yeah. Yes, I used 15x. Liquidation is at 0.89. So maybe you're using cross margin, which is using the entire account, right, Charbel? Because if, the math is the math. When you use a 5x, in the case of XRP, if the price moves 20% against you, you get liquidated. 5x, 20% is 100%, right? Only if you're using cross margin, your liquidation will be lower, which means that you're using your entire account as liquidation, 100% of your account. The math is the math, okay? So yeah, this is not great practice, okay? Devil Trading, the legend, is here, guys. Devil is having a breather. He's been very active throughout the last few months. He needed a nice, good week off, and he's chilling a little bit on holiday. And I'm covering for Devil inside of the community and on YouTube, of course. My man, hope you're having a great time chilling, and you come with your batteries charged, okay? Getting ready for your trading week, months, and years, right? My man, hope you have having a great week off. Devil, much love to you. Hopefully BTC will moon for XRP. Yeah, hopefully. If Trump would stop effing around and Bitcoin would stop shitting the bed, we will be okay. Rich, absolutely. Devil the legend is here. I think BTC holds 60k. He would be fine. Yeah, if 60k does hold, then that XRP trade would be looking okay, potentially, right? I think we're going to have one more leg down. Andy, yeah, very possible. Okay, it is very, very possible. It looks okay for that scenario. Could you explain how you use those 2236, 382, 50% fibs to continuation in the trend? Yeah, we can do that. Inside Trader gives 32,000 as the bottom, and it's coming August to October. Paolo, yeah, very, very possible. Yeah, bearish continuation of the bear market makes sense with the 4-year cycle theory, with Elliott wave theory as well on the higher time frame. We discussed that yesterday. It does kind of make sense that the low of the bear market is not in here at $58,000, right? 57.7 to be more exact. Are we in a bull flag? Wave 2 on the 5-minute time frame. We're gonna discuss that. Andy, I have learned a lot from you and Devil, right? I guess. Thank you for the TA. You're very welcome. Okay, let's jump into the meat and potatoes, guys, and let's discuss a few of the scenarios. A Trader, thanks for joining the stream. Moderator giving love and power. Right. What is going on? What is going on here on the 15-minute time frame? I think one of the most important zones for Bitcoin for me at the moment is this push to the upside. It's this push to the upside and this range. What do we have here? Is it a corrective bullish formation to get pushed to the upside, or has this been the end of a 3-wave structure, which doesn't look great at all, but it is a valid count? Is this corrective? It has a chance. Is it a 1-2-1-2? It has a chance. This is the main scenarios that we were looking for yesterday, where the price rejected, okay, just today, which had to be a little bit of a sniper trade, right? Lower high trend line, which we are going to come up there. So anybody that attempted this short, you want to be aware that you probably could be getting stopped out at break even or at a slight loss. Look at where we rejected. Trend line and the golden pocket from the latest lower high to the next low. Trend line and golden pocket. For the moment, we have a 3-wave move. We got an ABC flat here in the middle. We cannot discuss that. It is what it is, I have to say. I think this is mainly an ABC flat, making this a possible ABC. On the bullish side, a wave 4 and a wave 5. Bulls need to prove themselves that it is forming an impulse, which could happen throughout the next coming minutes on the stream. Where we got the rejection is the golden pocket with the lower high trend line, giving the option for the aggressive traders. If you don't catch the high in this case, you need to wait for a confirmation kind of move down, boom, 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 impulse, overlap this pivot, bounce. That's your shorting scenario. However, if you want to catch the high, you need to catch a level of resistance, lower high trend line, golden pocket, and golden pocket reaction. I mean, only if you're in front of the chart, right? This is kind of your entry point and your stop loss, right? If you are trading the golden pocket and the trend line, it's a tap and enter, right? Give a bit of room for stop loss, a couple of $100. It's the only way. It's the only way if you want to catch the high at a resistance. You tap it, you reject from it, you got less than a minute to get in. You move down already, there's no way you would short here, right? You're not going to short if the price is moving down because there is an option of having this as a corrective move. You push up. You can only get in at the highs on the rejection if you want to manage risk and have a better risk to reward to come all the way here to the downside, which is something that we did mention here on yesterday's stream, right? Can we get that push up here to the 63.2 and reject from the lower high trend line? Because this might be a 1-2, 1-2. And if you move up in a three-wave structure, that's the moment that you would want to get into the short, right? Trend line, you're looking for a three-wave move up. A little reaction at the point of control from June, which did happen. And then you pushed up here to the trend line and the golden pocket. At 63.2. That is exactly where the price is reacting, right? We're getting a few $100 of a move to the downside. Is it suggested to short? No. I mean, the only option that I would have would be kind of a double top here right now, which could happen on the stream. But then the things would change. Then this would be more as a 5-wave move. We haven't hit the invalidation of this to be an impulsive move to the upside, right? Which would be this scenario right here. Right? Invalidation is the wave 1. We did not hit it by a hair. If you want to trade a wave 4, your invalidation is literally this pivot over here. Not this one, because this is wave 2 price action. Yeah, wave 4 has overlapped a little bit. Wave 2 price action. That's okay. It's a valid option. It's not an invalidation. So, do we get an impulsive move up here? Or is this a 3-wave correction? This is going to end up rolling down. Your best option, really, to take that short, as explained, was the trend line and the golden pocket, as we were discussing yesterday, right? It's just the best option to get in. If you want to really try and catch the high, but you have a decent amount of a decent stop loss, which is greater for your risk management, and it has a chance of this being a double 1-2, right? Where you have your wave 1, wave 2. Obviously, you're looking for the breakdown. You have another wave 1 and another wave 2. Little red flags here for this double 1-2, which means that your second wave 1 is longer. Okay, it's 140% longer than your first wave 1, and that is not ideal. It does affect the probabilities, so it's something that you want to be aware of. Not be extremely confident that this is a double 1-2. We're just going to form another lower high and end up dumping down with very high probability. Well, it's not very high probability. The probabilities are there. There is a possibility. But something affecting the probabilities is that second wave 1, which is longer. 140% times longer, right? Which is not ideal. It's not great. So if you are a bit of a snipey trader, your best option, as we discussed yesterday, is, short the trend line, right? Rejection also with the golden pocket. And there was a little high volume node in that zone also. It's a difficult entry. It is a difficult entry. If you want to be more chilled about it, you just put your stop loss at the invalidation of the wave 2, the second wave 2, which is, it is a bit further away. That is your hard invalidation. If price were to come all the way up, okay, to hit that pivot at 64.2k, you're likely looking at something bullish. You're likely going to take out the highs of the range 64.6. You're just likely going to go higher. And this is the most important thing to understand when we consider risk management and invalidations. I had someone in the comment section asking me that he's in a major loss on XRP, and his liquidation price is, I don't know, somewhere at the 80 cent level or 90 cent. No stop loss, no invalidation, just hoping that the price would reverse and just holding a trade underwater, which is a full recipe of failing, right? Over time, at least, if you are going to continue trading like that, it's a full recipe. You will fail at some point. You're going to be lucky sometimes and the price reverses and you're in the green, right? This is the toxic thing about trading. Trading is, relatively easy. You can have a few lucky trades and say, well, this is the hook of trading, to get people to lose money, where they start off long, short, whatever. I think this, I think that, and then they get a few trades and you start to believe that it's easy. Because yeah, I could get into a long position right now, and then the price might just pop out here and then say, yeah, easy trade, right? It's not the case, right? It's not the case. You need to plan your trades, plan the scenarios, have invalidations, and manage risk. Of course, you cannot have a liquidation that is going to be eating up half of your account or even your entire account. So anyway, this rejection right now, I'm gonna zoom in on this lower time frame, because this could be very much, it does look very flaggy and it does look very corrective. Local momentum is to the upside. And this would be ideal for the bulls. If this local high is taken, we do have a great 5-wave potential. And then the correction is going to be looking wonderful, right? Because the probabilities are just going to massively increase for the price to move to the upside. This will be looking more impulsive for the moment. As long as you beneath this high, this could be an ABC. Right, as explained. So if you are going to be coming up now in the next coming minutes, if you did short that level, I would rather prefer to get stopped out at break even. This does look like it wants to push up. If this were to be bearish, you want either multiple 1-2s, lower highs, and then breakdown. Yeah, I would be happy to be getting stopped out at break even if you did short the trend line resistance and the golden pocket. Lower your risk, because we got the rejection, and this is all about trade management, right? Yeah, I would be stopped out at break even now if you did short right there. I would be out of the trade. Highs are likely going to be taken now in the next coming minutes. Okay, just understanding that if this were to be an ABC, okay, you need to understand the information that you get to manage your trades. Because if this were to be an ABC, right, you would want to see multiple 1-2s and then, break down in a wave 3, 4, 5. You just want to see kind of a first impulse move to the downside. And if that is not the case, if you form like a channel formation, then it does look like that the price could be forming a 5-wave structure. Especially if you get that pop to the upside. This would be a cheeky, let's just double check if a diagonal here has a possibility. I mean, very, very choppy. 1, yeah, a diagonal does not work here. Even if you take it from this low to this low, it needs to be an expanding diagonal. 1, 2. Even though if you get this as wave 2 or this as wave 2, it would have to be expanding, and expanding have low probability. So it can be an expanding diagonal. That would be the worst scenario here for the bears, for the bulls, sorry. This is a cheeky move up. If this were to roll down from here, your bearish case is an expanding diagonal, which is not great. Very, very choppy price action. Expanding diagonals never carry the highest probability. This would be a little bit cheeky if the price were to roll down from this point. Your invalidation is the highs right there. So that's the invalidation of wave 2 locally. This would be really, really cheeky if this is going to be a wave 1 and wave 2. After a diagonal, it is common to get a sharp move to the upside or to the downside into the golden pocket 0.88 Fibonacci, which is basically happening. It would be devastating, right? It would be devastating if price were to nuke down from here for the ones that actually attempted to short in this zone, right? Because for me it would be a break-even trade. Yeah, there is still a chance, of course, for the bears of forming a 1, 2, and then this really takes a knock to the downside. Expanding diagonals are not great. They don't happen very often. So you just don't give them the highest probability. So I would say that the bullish scenario does look pretty nice. I would favor the bullish case that those highs are going to be taken. I would favor that these highs will be taken at 63.2k, because an expanding diagonal is not common for a wave 1 or a wave A, right? It's a leading expanding diagonal. And a corrective structure such as a double zigzag in this case would make more sense to finally take out those highs, to finally form that impulsive move, right? That possible impulsive move to the upside, which would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Instead of the ABC up, multiple 1, 2s to the downside. Bullish case scenario is getting multiple 1, 2s up. Sorry, not multiple 1, 2s up. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Looking for those highs to be taken. Still, that high volume node was not hit. There could be an aggressive short trade as getting into a correction. If those highs are taken, there could be an aggressive short based on the golden pocket from the entire move down. Okay, entire move down, which is this for the moment. 5-wave move to the upside. You would be looking for a correction and then the price to move to higher prices later on. There could be a little quick scalp here at the golden pockets, which we have a high volume node of this zone. Yeah, this could be I would prefer the golden pocket to be hit and maybe get into a quick short scalp, take a bit of room for stop loss, and look for the corrective move down as your profit. Let's see if we do get the push, because then we might get a nice live short trade scalp execution. Okay, I'm giving priority for the price to move to the highs, just because this does count better as a corrective move to the downside. As explained, an expanding diagonal does have low probability against a corrective structure, such as a double zigzag, right, where you'd have a zigzag correction and another zigzag down. A double zigzag would always has higher probability than an expanding leading diagonal. Okay, so I am prioritizing a push up here. So if we were to get that push up, understanding that this could be a 5-wave move to the upside, where can that fifth wave reject from? That's what's interesting, right? Because after a 5-wave move, you are looking for some kind of a pullback, unless this is a double 1-2, 1-2, right? And then it just pops out. Double 1-2 here is not great, because your second wave 1 also would be much longer. So this does make sense for it to be a wave 3, because it did hit the 1.618 extension. So this is 170% longer than this wave, right? So it does make sense to label this as a wave 3. Wave 4 did not hit this wave 1. It did not overlap. So it does make sense for this to actually have a wave 5 potential. And if it is going to be a wave 5, you would not expect a wave 5 extension, right? Because wave 5 extensions are not very common, right? they could happen, but that's where we need to manage risk. So where could the wave 5 top out, right? Well, you get slightly above the wave 3. That's what usually happens, right? Slightly above it, give or take. In this case, on the lower time frame, a couple of $100 above the wave 3. And we do have an interesting zone of resistance, which is just a high volume spike. That's on Bybit, okay, from this zone. And slightly above that level is the golden pocket from the entire move down, which is this, it's a 3-wave move, but from the highs to the lows. So let's see if we do get there, because this could be a nice little short scalp execution, okay? This will be taken on the stream if we get up there and we get a quick little reaction, okay? I will be targeting the 382 Fibonacci from the lows to the highs at least. So it could be a quick 2, even 3 to 1 risk to reward. Let's see if we do get that push up. That's the best confluence zone that I like. I got Elliott wave theory giving me the chance of a 5-wave move up. Got a nice high volume node with the golden pocket. I don't think we have any daily levels right there. Let me just double check here. Any order blocks or a daily level? We might have an order block here on the 1-hour time frame. Yeah, there is a bit of a, well, not the greatest order block, just a lot of price action here. Let me check 2-hour, 1 hour. Yeah, not really an order block, because we didn't get continuation down here in a red candle. Right, let's see. We're pushing up now, which is the highest probability scenario to take out those highs. We got the trend breakout, right? Most bullish case scenario is double 1-2 or an expanding 5th wave. Okay, want to be cautious. I like the golden pocket from the high to the low. Okay, I really like that level. We just got that high volume node right there from this zone. Yeah, let's see. Golden, even though you formed a 3-wave down, golden pocket is still relevant. Golden pocket from a pivot high and a pivot low is still relevant. We got an example here from just a couple of weeks ago where this is the original short trade that I took here mid-June, which I am still in at this moment. This was a golden pocket and a daily level hit, which played out very, very nicely, right? Because we did have this high over here at 67.2. So we got the movement here to the downside, and you can see the price where it got the rejection. It was the golden pocket from the high to this low, right? So you slightly crossed the golden pocket. It was a better level because we had a daily level here. This was back on the 17th of June. It was a daily level perfect for a reaction trade, which is originally that short that was taken on a stream a few weeks ago that did end up in a swing trade. Right, we did get that golden pocket from the high to the low. Perfect reaction with a daily. And, you know, when I'm talking about the lower time frames here, I think it is a valid short based on elliott wave theory. If it ends up being an expanding diagonal, it is what it is, right? This never carries the highest probability as a wave 1, right, or as a wave A. So shorting a lower high over here is not great. It's not great, even though if it does play out, you know, for me, then it would have to be a mistrade. But I need to go through the rules and how I trade and what levels I am looking at to get into that trade. An expanding diagonal here, leading expanding diagonal is the bearish option for this to be an ABC. Wave 1, expanding diagonal, wave 2, and you know, price ends up rolling over, of course, here in the next coming hours. There is that chance. It is aggressive short. I don't like it personally. Of course, you can say, well, I think this is the moment that an expanding diagonal to the downside is going to happen. And right, if you the highs is your invalidation. If you feeling aggressive enough to short in this zone, you need to have a stop loss, which is the highs. The highs is your invalidation, which was not hit by a hair. I prefer not taking it. Let me just double check here if we do have a day. I don't think we have a daily level. Let me just double check here if we do have a daily or a daily level is well higher. Yeah, daily level is pretty high. Obviously, you got the trend line, right, which is acting as resistance at the moment. We can see that. And this would have to be a fake out, right? We always need to be aware that the price could break out of the trend, right, and push up with a bit of power. If it's going to be double 1-2, double 1-2 does not fit nicely here. Your second wave 1 is longer. It's not an invalidation. It just decreases the probabilities that this is a double 1-2, increasing the probabilities that this would likely be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 5 extensions are not very common, so you come to the assumption that you would want to see that wave 5 not break successfully above the recent highs, meaning that we would want to see that wave 5 getting rejected at a level of confluence, preferably, which would be golden pocket from the highs to the lows. 63.4 high volume node of this territory, right? This zone is slightly below. Well, this would be the reactionary zone to reject from. 63.4K basically. So yeah, let's see. For the moment, price is dancing, rejecting a little bit. A corrective structure here is preferred rather than an expanding diagonal for a wave 1, 2, right, and 3, 4, 5, right, just moving down from here. Correction is preferred, meaning that taking out the high, would have high probability when we consider that expanding diagonals are quite rare. You see expanding diagonals more common on the lower time frames, like 5 minute, 3 minute. On the higher time frames, we hardly see them. But because lower time frame, you get more price action, of course, right? You do see them a little bit more often. Still, it is lower probability than a corrective structure, which in this case would be a double zigzag, right? Because you do have a zigzag down, which could be your W. You have your correction flat in wave X, and then push down, push up, push down. A double zigzag fits nicely in this zone, or an expanding diagonal. When we prioritize a movement, what's more common, expanding diagonals, leading expanding diagonals, or WXY double zigzag? WXY double zigzag is more common. So yeah, let's see. I'm going to set some alerts here at the highs, and then we'll go through a few other scenarios. We'll zoom out a little bit because I want to discuss with you what waves and levels we do have. But this is coming into an interesting rejection zone. Let me just set some alerts here on the other screen. And let's go quickly through the comment section, and then I'll go through a slightly higher time frame. Not particularly interested in anything at the moment, but I could be interesting if we do get that push up into that zone, golden pocket, for that wave 5, right? If the planets align, you got the Fibonacci golden pocket, a high volume node. I would be a little bit concerned of the trend line breakout and the multiple 1-2s. Multiple 1-2s is low probability because second wave 1 is much longer, so I'm not prioritizing a massive breakout here. An extended wave 5 is also not too common. Obviously, after an extended wave 5, you would look for the pullback. Let's see if we do get up there. Our next major level, if we were to break, is the daily at 63.9K. So this is going to be a reactionary trade. It's going to be a reactionary trade. I hope there's not too much lag on the stream, because even though there will likely be about a minute or so or two before the rejection to get into this trade. Yeah, I like it. It ticks the boxes for me to have a short attempt at the golden pocket here from the highs to the lows. High volume node in this territory. Right, let me just double check here on Coinbase or Binance if we do also have that a high volume node in this zone. On Coinbase, it is slightly higher. 63.7, which is above the point of control. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how we get up there if we do so. Oh, price moving down now. That would be a cheeky move up. Cheeky move up for expanding diagonal wave 1, wave 2. That would be cheeky. This is the thing, when you are... If you were to speculate that this is an ABC 3-wave move to the upside, and that you have an expanding diagonal to the downside as a wave 1 or a wave A, of course, your hard invalidation is, you know, this high. If this is going to be an expanding diagonal as wave 1 or wave A, which means you are looking to take out the lows again, your stop loss, you know, has to be the highs. There's no more to it. It has to be the highs if you're looking to short a lower high in this region. And you're targeting the lows. So it's not a great, you know, it's not a great high probability setup, even though it plays out, right? Even though it does actually roll back down to the lows. Right, let's go quickly through the comment section. That like button is absolutely exploding, guys. Thank you so much. Damn, we're at 400 likes already. That's crazy. Insane. Guys, let me, still holding strong short from today's highs. Holding strong short from today's highs, which was the golden pocket. Yeah, I mean, if you're managing risk and you're happy with your stop loss, short from today's highs, which is the golden pocket from the second pivot lower high to the lows, and the trend line rejection, right? We are rejecting from trend line, which could be an extra added confluence right there. Let's go through comment section, and we'll dive in through a little bit of a higher time frame. I'm still originally short and long. I'm in a boring trade, but they both going to cook gains, right? I prefer 67k, of course. I prefer a move up to the highs because the long position is slightly bigger than the short currently. But I'm at the point where it's a decision time for the next coming days. Do we get that push up, right? Is this a wave 1 or A? We forming wave 2 or B, and we get a push up to 67k zone, or does it roll down to the lows? Of course, profits need to be taken from the short as we get down. Locally, for the moment, I'm very selective, very selective with the trades, because it's very rangy and very choppy, right? As explained the last few days, it's like it's a bit of a confusing zone, right? We got this lots of volatility up and down. Well, not lots. It's a $2,000 range, but it creates a confusion, right, on the directional bias, right? Is the directional bias to take out the highs or to roll down? And for me, it really is a 50-50. You know, I just do see both options because it's a messy information structure. This could be 1-2, 1-2. We roll over. This could be a 3-wave zigzag. We are busy right now with the impulsive move, which is not completed, right? For the moment, we got a 3-wave corrective move at the moment. As long as we form a lower high from that pivot, this is a 3-wave move, which naturally brings the bearish options, right? That is a double 1-2 to then roll over throughout the next coming hours and days, right? To get down to the 60k region, which is very, very possible. Very, very possible. Expanding diagonal, it to the downside is cheeky. It is cheeky, but it you know, on lower time frames, we do see them more often than on the higher time frame. So it is a cheeky one right there if that is going to be the case. Which is like, you know, depending on where your stop loss is, you always need to have the option of your hard invalidation is taking out the highs of that 3-wave structure, right? No matter what. Sometimes, you know, many times I do get stopped out at break even in these kind of movements because I'll short and I'll protect. Unless my trade is not too much of a stop loss, it might even be 0.5% as a stop loss. It all depends on your stop loss. How much are you risking? Are you going heavy on this short trade? Because sometimes if you're using like 3%, you know, as a stop loss of your account, I want to be defensive, right? I don't feel like losing 3%. But if it's going to be 0.5% of your account, you know, even if it's down here, that you know, just gives you a little bit of more options to hold the trade. It's like, I don't care, right? If it gets stopped out, if it is going to form a low high, then the projection is very, very good. The projection to come down is bringing me, you know, if you're risking this, you're looking for a, you know, 2.5, even 3% win if it ends up rolling down to the lows, which it does have its chance here, right? Something that we were discussing yesterday, that there is the chance for the bears to form a lower high right over here in this zone for a 1-2, 1-2. Your best option to get into the 3-wave ABC, if you are wanting to catch the high, right, which is, it is difficult because you never know if you're going to break out in a wave 3. But if you have your reasons and you have your resistance, in this case, lower high trend line, you got the golden pocket from the high to the low, perfect reaction here at 63.2. Then you have the option of getting into that short trade, right? You could be risking here 0.5%, right? If you're taking this short at this resistance, right? For the double 1-2 scenario, right? You're shorting the lower high resistance trend line. If the loss is small and the projection is big, remember, small losses, big wins, right? Bigger wins always on our projections when we're looking for the setups. So, you know, will this end up breaking down? We're going to have to see, legends. Let me just fill up this of water and I'll go through the comment section, legends. Okay, someone was saying I am short. Down then up, please. I'll go through comment section right away, guys, and we'll discuss a little bit of the uptrend momentum that we have had throughout the last few days and discuss the Elliott wave scenarios that we do have available from the low to the high. Okay, from the low to the high, what options do we have? Let's go through comment section. Let me just fill up this of water and we'll be back in 1 minute. All right. Phew, sorry about that, guys. Let's go through the comment section. Let me know what comes first for Bitcoin. Let me just create this poll. We are at 62.6. Let's say 64.7. Let's go with 65 or 60K. We're in the middle. Let me just create this poll, which is interesting, right? We do have a bullish scenario. We got a bearish case. Bearish case is looking attractive, right? A lower high here for a second wave 2. Roll down. Let me ask this. What comes first for Bitcoin, guys? Get your votes in. Get your votes in, because then we'll have a overview of this if there's more people that are locally bullish or locally bearish. What comes first for Bitcoin? 65K or 60K? We're in the middle, right? We're at 62.7, slightly more to the upside. Get your votes in, you sexy legends, and let me know right away, what do you think comes first? And we'll go quickly through the comment section. We'll discuss the 1 hour time frame, and yeah, we'll break down a few of the scenarios. Guys, remember, if you are interested in the daily updates where we are going through the local setups, the local analysis, getting the plans ready, I can't share today because we do have, you know, a lot of the options still possibly playing out, which we could discuss in the next coming days. In the Legends trading community, we do discuss overall many different trading setups, okay? We can't go through them because some of them are still relevant, and that will not be nice for the people that are inside of the trading community. So if you are interested in joining, guys, send me the word access. That's where we do provide daily setups, analysis, okay? And we try and figure out which is the next highest probability trading setup, okay? Every single day, I do my best to figure out what is the highest probability trade for me to take and for the community to take if they wish, right? If they wish. Send me the word access here inside of the Telegram, okay? I'll leave it in the pinned comment just for anybody that is interested, that wants more information, more value, more education. You can tag me there. You can ask me questions. I provide updates and scenarios that could happen, right? And we get trading plans ready, basically, okay? It's in the pinned comment, guys. Access says Werner, much love. Right, Dimakas, 60K. 50-50, says Olivia. I'm in the 50-50 camp, unfortunately, right? I am in the 50-50 camp. This is, I do understand that this is an aggressive entry. Sometimes I feel aggressive, sometimes I don't. Yesterday, this is an aggressive short entry. Let's be honest, right? We discussed this when we were trading in this zone yesterday. We were aware that a 3-wave move to the upside was possible, right? And if you are feeling aggressive, the lower high trend, right, with the golden pocket from the last lower high to the low, it is an aggressive entry, right? We were trading yesterday at 61.6, right? We were trading yesterday on the stream, and we gave a few options. This is what we do. We try and map out the situation and where the opportunities could lie. I class this as an aggressive entry because I know that the 3-wave down, you know, can be an ABC correction. But if you want to try and catch the high instead of joining the short later on, you got lower high trend, golden pocket. You want a 3-wave move, right? So far, we did get a 3-wave move up here to this 63.2K zone, right? Just rejecting from the trend line. So the option is there, right? For the aggressive traders, is there. 3-wave move up into the trend line. Double 1-2 is your bearish case scenario. 1-2, 1-2. Information locally is teasing, right? It's a bit of a teaser right there of having high probability, right? But we are rejecting from this zone. The reaction is there. So we can't say that we did not talk about it, right? We can't say we didn't talk about it because we did. We did talk about the double 1-2. We did talk about the 3-wave zigzag. We talked about the level of rejection, which is the trend line in the golden pocket with a high volume node. High volume node was not hit on the volume profile as of yet, but we are rejecting from that zone, giving the option of the double 1-2. I wish the information to the downside here locally it would be great, right, to be confident, but it's a bit of an expanding diagonal. Yeah, it's a bit of a move down, right? Would be a cheeky one, right? Would be a cheeky wave 1 in a leading expanding diagonal, a cheeky steep wave 2 to then, end up with another 1-2 and break down, or just break down directly here, right, in the next coming hours. Right, comment section time it is. We got a 50-50. Of course, 50-50. It doesn't matter. There's many days that is a 50-50, right? There is many days which is a 50-50. When I have confidence on a trade, I try and go in, pretty heavy, right? I try and make the most of that trade, especially when we got a big projection, right? Last week, well, it's been 9 days, well, about 8 days now from that long setup that we did provide in the trading community. This is a confident long trade. It's a confident long trade. I am ready. We got an insane monthly naked point of control, right? Which was the bounce that we got beautifully just over a week ago. I mean, hang on a minute. I've deleted the monthly naked point of control because it was tapped, but it was basically at 57.9K, right? There was a monthly naked point of control. Analyzing the waves very, very carefully, and understanding that a 1, 2, 3, 4 beautiful range, that's what I wanted to see, and then the last push to the downside into that level as a completed 5-wave move down to get the bounce reversal. Confident in that long. This is a long trade that I didn't even catch the low. I had to wait for the pullback, then got in. Confident. I had the confidence in that long position. Stop loss beneath the low. There's no more to it. You want that level to hold and get the reaction bounce. In this zone, it's aggressive, right? When we have so many scenarios, you need to be aggressive, right? If you are bearish, you need to understand that your bearish option is a double 1-2. You need to understand that the second wave 2 needs to reject between the 50% and the 7/8 Fibonacci, which is the common area of rejection. This is the box where we are in basically right now. The golden pocket is acting as resistance, and the trend line is also acting as resistance, right? You are still maintaining the bearish local market structure from the last few days, right? Will it end up rolling down? Sometimes you need for me, it's not a high probability trade. It's not a high probability trade. So if you don't have a high probability trade, what you can do is decrease the risk, right? If you're usually risking 2% per trade, lower it to 0.7%, right? Because still, if it rolls down, you are going to make some gains. But trading sometimes gives you that 50-50 kind of feeling. A trader, right? We do have what comes first for Bitcoin, 65K or 60K. 55% are leaning. We got 82 votes, 82 votes, 400 people watching the stream. Guys, come on, get your votes in. What's wrong with you? Likes are down, votes are down. My goodness, if you can't even click the like button, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to click here to make a trade, right? Holy moly. Come on, guys. Like button smashed and get your votes in here on the poll, right? If you can't do that, I'm concerned if you can get into a trade, right? Get into a long, or if you can't even click the long button or the short button. Right. Diamond shape. Yeah, also that is interesting. Diamond pattern formation. Bit of a diamond pattern. Not the most beautiful diamond. But I see it. Diamond top pattern, right? We used to take a look at these kind of patterns before on the channel as of entertainment, right? Anybody that doesn't know what is a diamond pattern, it is a reversal pattern. If you are coming from an uptrend and you form this kind of diamond formation here with lower lows, higher highs, lower highs, right? It is a reversal pattern. It doesn't have massive probabilities, but it is a bit of a diamond toppy pattern, right? Anybody that is not aware of a diamond top, that is the one. We do have our reasons, right, as well. You want a lower high if it is going to be a diamond reversal pattern, right, to come down. We used to look at this out of entertainment for those crazy thumbnails. Next price movement will shock you. Right, let's go through the comment section, and then we'll break down a few of the options that we do have here with this movement up. Very, very messy price action. I am personally in no local trade here. I'm in no local trade. I mean, this is a headache. This is for me is a headache. You know, I don't have very big projections here with high probability. Here I had a big projection even to go higher, but in this zone, man, this is a bit of a headache, man. Right? Unless you're aggressively scalping and taking profits very quick with $1,000 move, then okay, that's fine. But I'm out of that kind of scalping. I want to calculate big projected moves. That's where I make my money. Man, this diamond schmeinod bollocks. Yes, it is. It is. It's you know, these kind of diamond patterns are not very relevant, especially if they're ugly. Okay, it's just an entertaining pattern, let's say. So close to 200 likes, legends. Take a second and go and tap that like button. A Trader, thanks for the support, my man. Enrique, what's Enrique saying? Which is making A Trader laugh. I can't see the comment. What are your thoughts on old OG altcoins as overall? Wow, that's a very interesting question. I do hold still all of my Chainlink, and it's a lot of Chainlink. I've got thousands of Chainlink. And I still hold them since 2019. I think Chainlink, yeah, I mean, it's still an active project. I think it does have its utility. Curious about ICP and Link, and any insights? Still holding dead project. Not a dead project. It's just the price has done very bad. Man, people leave the stream once we start talking about altcoins. People are like, yeah, screw that. Screw that. Chainlink is back down at the reaccumulation. So, I mean, this is not a bad zone to accumulate for the next altcoin season, whenever that's going to happen. Give it a, you know, maybe a year or two. Who remembers this zone? If you've been long enough on the channel, this is where I bought most of my Chainlink. So I'm literally at break even at the moment. Did not sell, did not even sell. It was a, you know, I had about a 4x 5x on Chainlink here, which was, you know, I am down a lot on unrealized profits that I didn't take on my spot bag. But it is what it is. If you're going to play with altcoins, if you're going to play silly games, you're going to get silly prizes. Well, this is what this is what you get. So it's an interesting where we are at the moment for Chainlink, which was a massive accumulation zone, right? When you come down, when you're coming from a bear market and you range as so for 18 months, give or take. I don't know, this was around about a year or so. Yeah, well, just over a year. This is a clear accumulation. It's a crystal clear accumulation. And this is where I bought most of my Chainlink. You guys know, if you've been long enough on the channel, after a brutal bear market, right, you're going to believe that the project is dead. But when you range as so, it's clearly an accumulation. And we are back down to that accumulation zone. So could we range as so for many months? If it is going to be the case, I would be quite interested in. I'll be looking at what Chainlink is doing as a project, because I haven't been following up Chainlink for over a year, and see what is the roadmap and what do they have under the sleeve, right, for 2027, 2028. Might be nothing. It might be a dead project. I haven't really gone through it. I wouldn't think so. It does have its utility, of course, but an accumulation kind of zone. We are back here at this area where naturally has been a buying zone. Chainlink whales have been buying here, and we're back down in that zone. So you would expect this area to hold on. What's most important is to range here. If we range for a few months, it is going to starting to look like a clear accumulation. Anyway, ICP, I got rid of a significant chunk of my ICP once we got the rally to $8-9, because I did buy a huge chunk here of ICP in this zone. It went to a massive loss. Whoever got into that SFP of the lows was a legend. But I bought here, and I took my money back. I went straight to the exchange and sold on this pump to get my money back, basically. And this was all publicly said, and I'm still holding the rest of a free bag. Nice kind of bottoming formation. I have no idea what ICP is doing. I need to follow up. I've literally dumped the idea of going through altcoins and trading altcoins or buying altcoins for over a year now. So almost a year, I would say, right? This was since we got the dump in October, and focused on Bitcoin trading, because that's where I made most of my gains, and that's where I specialized on Bitcoin trading. So mainly focusing on Bitcoin trading, of course. Right, let's go through the comment section. I will do a bit of research on them, but I still hold my bags on Chainlink. And while looking at altcoins, yeah, Francisco, just for a quick one, we're gonna be going through Bitcoin, okay, mainly. Yeah, we're gonna try and avoid altcoins, because people don't like altcoins. Most of the people don't like altcoins. They want Bitcoin trading. That's where we are specialized. Okay, do you think the Clarity Act will be signed this month? I mean, possibly yes. Werner, Recton, if we hold monthly point of control here, can we long on retest? Monthly naked point of control. Monthly point of control, can we long on the retest? I assume that you're talking about the June point of control, which is actually holding. It is holding, which we have it right over here. Let me just get that. It is holding, right? Very locally here. June point of control, we are trying to flip it as support, as we did reclaim it early this morning. You know, one of my long setup plans, this is for a new long setup, What I want to see, I'm going to explain it right away, is to have a confirmed impulse to the upside. When do we get a confirmed impulse to the upside? I'm giving it the chance. I am definitely giving the chance of that impulse to happen. Maybe this is not an ABC. As explained, we have a expanding leading diagonal for this to be a wave 1, which is low probability. Just because expanding leading diagonals are low probabilities on its own. It says it on the book of Elliott wave principle. Expanding leading diagonals. If it happens, it's not a high probability trade that you want to take on a bounce for a short. And a corrective structure has higher probabilities. So the fact that we could have this push to the upside, let me just clean the chart here, as a wave 1, an ABC flat as wave 2, wave 3, wave 4 still valid, a wave 5. That is the moment that I know the invalidation for this wave 4 is the high of wave 1, which was not hit, as you can see, right? Your wave 4 did not overlap the high here. This is an ABC flat, so you're not counting part of the B wave as the overlap. You're counting the high of wave 1. That's your hard invalidation for this case for your wave 4. Wave 4 cannot hit that level. Once the high is taken here, an impulsive move will look very, very good. If you have an impulsive move to the upside and you have a 3-wave move down and you cannot look for a flat, of course this is not an ABC flat, your B wave has gone well beyond the 1.618, right? If you're going to speculate that, we're going to form an ABC flat here. This is A wave, this is B wave, and this is C wave, right? As a running flat, for example, to then roll over. That is very, very, very low probability because your B wave is twice the length, even more than twice the length of your A wave, right? When we get the Fibonacci extension tool, which is the third tab here, the second tab on the Fibonacci, you get your extension of wave A, and then you reverse it. It's almost twice the length for a B wave. This is low probability for an ABC. Your B wave, you want it to bottom out between the 1-to-1 and the 1.382. Then you can talk about an ABC flat. But if you overshoot the 1.618, you know that is unlikely to happen. So that's not a scenario that we're looking at. So with that said, this will increase in probabilities that this is a corrective move and this is a impulsive move in either a wave 1 or a wave A, which means that the correction then to backtest the point of control could be very, very attractive to look for the long. I mean, this is where I will be confident in taking the long position to the highs. This information will be there, of course, if we do take out the highs. Of course, now the bears have a chance of pushing the price down. But to be confident that we are going to take out 65k, basically, we need an impulse up to confirm that this is corrective. And of course, we're looking for 1 or A. Most bullish case scenario, of course, is wave 1. So you're looking for a wave 2 to form a flag or basically a corrective structure with overlap. That's when it looks interesting for the backtest of the June point of control, right? Kind of a fake out, reclaim, overlap. This is a very, very good long setup. What needs to happen? We need to take the highs again so we can have a confirmed impulsive move And then you always need to have a stop loss, right? Regardless, we're looking at the probability side of things, right? This would just increase the probability to move up to the highs. As long as we do not take out the high again at 63.2K, this has a possibility of being a 3-wave corrective structure and a 1-2-1-2 roll down to sweep up the lows and go to lower prices, of course, is on the cards at the moment. So your invalidation really here for this short setup at the moment after this pullback is literally the highs, right? I would say if you want to take a short from here, just manage risk. Your stop loss has to be the highs, because if you take out the highs, you're forming an impulse. That means that a corrective move here to then continue up is highly likely. Even though you get stopped out and you move down, you're likely gonna be forming a correction. Likely, right? We need to see that. So yeah, your hard invalidation has to be the high if you're looking for the price to move down from here. Right, let's go through the 1 hour time frame and let's discuss a few of the scenarios. Let's go with the bearish option. I'm going to go with the bearish option here. Let's go through comment section, see what the people are saying, if there's anything interesting or not. But I'll break down the bearish option and then I'll break down the bullish option here for the price of Bitcoin. Okay. Right, alerts are set here at the highs. Okay, let's go. Comment section, and then we'll break down the bearish and bullish options. Is a head and shoulders valid? 82K head. Oh my goodness. 82K the head. Well, it would be a valid speculation, right? Are you talking about this being the right shoulder? This is the head, right shoulder. Are you talking about this? I mean, it's very speculative, of course. We need to consider the counts and we need to basically Elliott wave theory is very, very powerful on the lower time frame to really know the next movements and levels. This is very speculative, right? It's just like, yeah, maybe 82K the head, so you're basically on the formation of the head right there. Inverted head and shoulder, I would assume, right? Hanafi says, please short it, guys. We need majority shorting, then market maker will pump. That's the only way price can go up in crypto. Altcoins is a scam. Can wave 5 extend to 64K? Absolutely. This is the problem about wave 5s as well. You just don't know how far a wave 5 can extend. This is why you need a huge level of resistance, which we don't really have in this zone, right? There's not a huge, massive level of resistance. There's a little high volume node right there, which is close to the golden pocket from this high. From the highs to the lows. So you know that wave 5 could top out here, but could wave 5 go to 64K? Absolutely, it could extend a little bit. So this is the thing about trading the reversal after an impulse, right? When you want to trade and profit from the movement down here on a possible correction, wave 5 can be tricky. You know, even a target for a regular wave 5 is getting, for an extended wave 5, you get from the low of wave 1 to the top of wave 3 to the low of wave 4, and a wave 5 extension can even hit the 1.618 extension, which is, you know, this would be, that's a wave 5 extended wave 5 can even do this. And that's taking it to 65.2. You said, can it reach 64? If it does reach 64, I would treat it as an extension, of course. If you are going to be, you know, usually a wave 5 is not longer than a wave 3. And getting above 64, it would already be an extended wave 5. So you would expect wave 5 to reject. If it's going to be a regular impulse, which is the most common, wave 5, you don't want it to hit the 1-to-1 extension of your wave 3, because if you're not, that we're talking about extended wave 5s, which are not common. So the common area to reject on the wave 5, right, would be just as you break out from wave 3, give it a take here, a few $100, because it's the lower time frame, right, to reject. And that's where you need to look for levels of resistance to get the rejection. Unfortunately, we don't have massive levels of resistance here when we consider point of controls, naked point of controls. There's at 63.3, there is that high volume node of 2 days ago, right, which is when we get the fixed volume profile of this range. You do get that little high volume spike. But it's not a massive level. When you want to add confluence to this, we can only use Fibonacci from the highs to the lows, which is golden pocket. This is a possible rejection zone for your wave 5, but it's just not massive. It's not huge confluence. That's the problem here. So could wave 5 extend? Could it push through? We do have a daily level. There's a daily level here at 64K basically, which would be value area high of this zone. Yeah, no, just a daily level at 64K. And that's the thing about trading wave 5s. Unless you have a massive level of resistance to speculate on the wave 5 rejection, you know, is it going to be worth the shot? I would be happy to short the golden pocket as the wave 5 top here, 63.4K. Would be happy to attempt it. And it would only be a scalp, you know, quick 2-3 to 1 risk reward, just for a pullback here. Because I understand that, you know, we could pull back as a correction and then, you know, continue back up here. It would only be a scalp short. So let's see if we do get it. If we're forming a massive move up with volume and we just break and break, the short will not be taken. If it does react a little bit at the golden pocket, going to manage risk very, very well. You will see that execution live on stream, depending on the reaction. Give a bit of room for stop and look for a 2-3 to 1 risk reward. It's only a scalp short trade, speculating on the pullback after a wave 5. Now, when we wave 5, look, when we talk about what happened throughout June, and this was obviously a swing, right? Analyzing the 4-hour, 1-hour time frame, you had the clear 3-wave structure up, right? This is a clear A, B, and C. It's a clear 3-wave move, right? As you can see. Clear 3-wave. Taking into consideration the higher time frame, I was labeling this as wave 3 potential. Then obviously this wave 4. And then the price moved down in a wave 5. The wave 5 needs to be completed by 5 waves. So there is the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4 in a running triangle, and a wave 5. So this was looking very, very good for a triangle formation. Nice rangy structure. That's what you like to see for a wave 4. After a push down in a potential wave 3, you want wave 4 to be lengthy, right? It is a shallow pullback and it's very sideways kind of price action most of the times. Where is this wave 5 going to finish, right? That's the question somebody was asking here. Where is that wave? You know, can wave 5 reach this level? Can wave 5 go? You know, wave 5 can be extended. Wave 5, you need a solid level of resistance for the wave 5. You need a very, very strong level of support in this case, right? But in this case, a resistance locally, what we're talking about. And if you have a massive level under the wave 3 as support, in this case it was a monthly naked point of control. We did have a monthly naked point of control at 57.9k. The reaction at that massive level is very, very important. Get back above it. Then you know that the wave 5 could have finished at the big support level, right? A monthly naked point of control. Hence the long trade. This main long trade, the swing long trade that was taken last week at 57.9k, right? Reaction, monthly naked point of control, was waiting for this to be a wave 4. So a lot of waiting game here when we trading. We wait, we have everything aligned. This is the money making trade. Where did the wave 5 bottom? I understand that this monthly naked point of control, if we do get a couple of 1-2s, which we did not, we went down relatively fast. So we did actually follow here these lines here that I had ready for. We always get a couple of options ready, right? We'll be following up here what happens, but the level to get the reaction is a monthly naked point of control, or a daily, or the weekly if we formed an aggressive wave 5. You want a big level of confluence, a weekly level, a daily level, a monthly naked point of control, a regular naked point of control, to understand where that wave can finish, right, on the reaction. So this is originally the long setup that was given in the trading community last week, right? Here at this, and this was speculating on a wave 5, right? I do not, you know, I have a few options for the wave 5, weekly level or the monthly naked point of control. Monthly naked point of control was the one that got the reaction. So this is the moment to take the long trade setup, right? Which is originally, you can see that we are waiting for that wave 5, right? You know, we plan the trades, we plan the waves, we plan the scenario, and this is the one that was tapped. This trade I'm looking to maximize as much. The target is 67k, right? This is a very good, solid, valid projection. I know a lot of people are skeptical about it, but it doesn't matter if it's hit. Then I have my analysis, I have my reasons for it to reach there. And of course, it's a swing trade. It's going to be a couple of weeks. That is this same long trade, which is currently, you know, still in 15,000 unrealized profits, was given last week in the trading community, right? This was a confident level for the setup when we were trading at the 60k range. One drop down to 57.9 reaction long setup. And we did get a nice rally of $6,000, right? Which is Very, very nice to see. Inside of the trading community, we were ready for this setup. If we have something good, it will be shared. A trade that I'm taking, a big trade that I'm taking, it will be shared in the community as so, with the entry, with the stop loss, with the projection. When I'm taking profit, I did inform a few days ago that I've taken 25% because a pullback is likely here in this zone. And, you know, profits were taken just a few days ago on this long setup. Remember, guys, if you're interested, you got the pinned comment down below, okay, in here, okay, where it's send me a DM with the word access. If you sign up to Bluffin, to Weeks or 2bit, a minimum deposit for your own trading, you get access for free in the trading community in the Telegram. First link or pinned comment if you want more info. Andy, what is the best Elliott Wave book? You do have the Elliott Wave Principle book, okay, which is it's the OG book, okay, Elliott Wave Principle. I actually have it right over here. This is the OG book of Elliott Wave, Frost and Prechter. It's actually a bit destroyed, but this has a few years now. Very, very good. All of the information based on Elliott Wave theory is in there. You rock, Andy. Thanks for the explanation. It keeps me confident and profitable. Olivier, absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words. After the news in the Middle East, sailors sell BTC holds higher than 60k. So maybe this price action could be more bullish than we think. Maybe. I mean, as explained, the probabilities based on the local information is that this price action has higher probability to be a corrective move than a expanding diagonal. And probabilities looks like it is going to tell us that that was it. That this was, a matter of fact, a correction and not an expanding diagonal for a wave 1 or a wave 8, right? And this is a lower high wave 2 or a wave B. That is low probability because an expanding diagonal down, leading expanding diagonal, always has lower probability because you don't see them very often. And if it's not an expanding diagonal, you can fit in a corrective structure. You know, if you have something expanding with lots of waves, you can fit in a double zigzag. Most of the times you can fit a double zigzag in an expanding diagonal, which you can, because from the highs, you got this movement down, A, B, and C. Then you have another A, B, C flat, and then you have another push down. Nice push down here. This is where you bounce for the A wave. This is the B wave, and that's the C wave. Which means that a double zigzag WXY is highly likely here. Zigzag down, flat, zigzag down. This has higher probability to be a double zigzag correction, meaning that you're looking to take out the high, rather than an expanding. You don't have an impulse here, because if you are looking for an impulse, you want to look for a 5-wave move. Do we have from this high to the low a solid impulsive move? It's either a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Do you have that here? Do you have a solid wave 3? You don't. There's not a solid gap for a wave 3. This would have been a 5-wave move down, but you didn't make it. You formed lots of overlap. Do you have multiple 1-2s? Well, multiple 1-2s could have been an option. However, getting back, once you form a new low here, your last lower high is always the invalidation. So if you're forming lower highs on multiple 1-2s, your latest lower high, which is this one, is the invalidation. You tap that level, that's invalidated for multiple 1-2s. After multiple 1-2s, you look for a breakdown, multiple 4-5s later on. So that was invalidated right there. Do you have any type of diagonals? Contracting diagonal, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a contracting diagonal. Or do you have an expanding diagonal, which opens up, right? Your wave 5 is longer than your wave 3. And in a contracting diagonal, your wave 5 is smaller than wave 3, and your wave 4 is smaller than your wave 2. When you connect the dots here, for this, you're looking at the waves, right? That would kind of fit. There's no contracting diagonal. Your wave 4, in this case, would be longer than your wave 2. That means that you're not contracting. In a contracting diagonal, you need your wave 4 to be smaller than your wave 2, because if not, it's not going to contract. It's going to expand. Contracting diagonals are more common than expanding diagonals, but still a contracting diagonal is rare. It's more common to have something corrective. So if you have an expanding diagonal, it's even more rare, because diagonals are less common than corrective structures. So the only option that we have is the rarest motive wave, which is an expanding diagonal. So with that said, it says it on the book, guys. It does say it on the book that expanding diagonals are the rarest structures. But this would be as so. This is valid for an expanding diagonal because your wave 4 is longer than your wave 2 and your wave 5 is longer than your wave 3. So it does fit for an expanding diagonal. With that said, the probabilities of this being a correction and taking out the high is higher, just because it's just a guideline. It's just a guideline, not because I want it to take the highs. It's just because the guideline says that a correction double zigzag would be more common than a expanding diagonal down for a wave 1 or a wave A, right? An expanding diagonal can be wave 1 or wave A. So with that said, the probabilities are higher to take out the highs, because you can fit in a double zigzag as explained. So bearish option, the only bearish option here is an expanding diagonal. That is rare. You do have a double zigzag, so double zigzag would have priority, meaning that taking out the highs would have priority here. Do you trade fair value gaps? I actually do. I do like to trade. I like to trade kind of fair value gaps, but only if there is like big confluence. So for example, you got this fair value gap on the 4-hourly time frame, right? Where you did get the reaction. I like these lower highs as an SFP where you do have a fair value gap depending on the time frame, but I would need I obviously take into consideration Elliott wave theory and take into consideration more confluence than just a fair value gap, but I would use it as extra confluence. You did get a little reaction from here, so you did get a little pullback. But I do like them as confluence. Right, smash up the like button, legends. Much love. Let's go through comment section. Making me bullish. Hi Andy, is a short still valid if we take the highs again or wait for daily level slightly higher? I will take that short if we do get the reaction. It's going to be a bit of a snipey trade, okay? These snipey trades, I take them with a grain of salt, of course. I take them with lower risk. I will be risking like 0.5% of my day trading account, but it could be there could be a rejection. Let's get the levels ready here. Let's see how we get up there. This could be a bit of a snipey short. It's not a massive level, unfortunately. It's not a great level. However, when we consider Elliott wave theory, we could project that it could be a wave 5 topping zone. Okay, so let's see. Point of control right there of this zone on Bybit, and the golden pocket from the highs to the lows. From the highs to the lows. It's a bit of a snipey trade, okay? It is a bit aggressive. It is a bit aggressive. Let's see if we do hit it and get a little reaction there. If the reaction is given on the, even the 5 minute, 1 minute time frame, if we do get a little bit of a reaction trade beneath the zone, it's going to be a valid aggressive short scalp. And this is not a short to like dump down to 60k. It's going to be a scalp day trade down to the point of control of June, basically, which is the 382 Fibonacci. Around about 62.5, 62.6, the 382 as a minimum target as after an impulse. It's only going to be a scalp 2-3 to 1 risk reward depending on the entry, right? But that's a little bit of the trade that I would be looking at here. I think it's still valid. It is aggressive, so I'm going to take that with very good risk management. I'm going to treat it as a little scalp. I'll risk about 0.5 to 1% maximum based on my stop loss. Depending on my stop loss, I cannot lose more than 1% on this trade because it's a risky one. Overall targeting wave 4 target and the 382 Fibonacci, which is in that zone anyway. And then I'm more interested in the long, right? This is just trying to trade the waves, right? I do believe that if this ends up in a 5-wave structure, that will end up forming a 3-wave correction here to then look for the long. I would be more interested in the long later on, which would bring better profits. I would go a little bit more heavy on this, 2%. Because I know that the probability would be higher to take out 64.6. Probability increases for the bulls only if you have a 5-wave move to the upside. Then the correction, want a bit of overlap. This will be a high probability long setup. And this one, I would be more confident than this short scalp. So let's see. Much love, guys. Thanks for smashing up the like button. Let me just get a drink of water and then we'll go through the comment section. Right. Who's your money on for the UFC fight this weekend, Conor or Max? You've been seeing the videos here. I've been watching a few UFC fights. I would say, I mean, Conor hasn't been fighting for quite a bit, and Max has. So I think Max is gonna win. I would say Max Holloway. I think he is gonna win. Just because Conor is, he's been out of the game for a few years now, and Max hasn't. So, what if we stuck here for 18 months? Do you trade Solana? No, mainly Bitcoin. Bitcoin is my 95% of my trading is Bitcoin. Which is enough, right? I mean, it depends on how, it all depends on how much capital you have. But for me, if I can make $20,000, $30,000 in a month, which is mainly from bigger projected swings, that's a very, very good income, right? And that is only possible if you built up capital, right? Right, we're getting a pop at the moment. Looks like we want to take out those highs, which is the highest probability scenario. Let's get the golden pocket ready here. We're pushing out now. We're going to test the highs by the looks of things. We still haven't. We are on the verge of doing so. I've got the other screen with the alert, so let's do the higher time frame updates. Let's do the higher time frame updates here from this range. What do we have? We got a bullish option, which would be a sideways WXY. This is the most bullish option, that this is a correction. This could be a sideways WXY, where we have finished our wave 1 or a wave A at this pivot. There is a way of counting a 5-wave move up here to finish wave 1. We can do the counts now. It doesn't really matter, but there's many options based on the overlap here of this price action. And this is because this is a messy structure. It can be a sideways WXY where the low is here before, moving to much higher prices. The way of counting this would be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't really matter here if 3 is there or 4 is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Even preferably here. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But there is a way of finishing an impulse at this high. Even if you go to the 15-minute time frame, you can get many different moves to the upside, even finishing your wave 5 here, finishing your wave 5 here, still having a wave 4 here, and then another wave 5, and then you correct. It's just that there's too many options just because it's been a messy uptrend. It hasn't been a clear push, correction, push up, push like this, right? When we do zoom out to the 4-hourly time frame and we look at the rejection from all-time high, this was a clear impulse down. When we look at a big high volume move down, this was clearly a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? There's no more to it. There's the classic 1, 2, there's the big wave 3, there's the 4, and there's the last push that takes out wave 5 and then gets the bounce. ABC, right? This is just textbook, easy, impulsive move down, right, from all-time high. And there's just, you can see, right? You got the classic wave 3 in the middle after your 1, 2, big wave 3, your wave 4, and then the wave 5. You know, this is easy detectable to look for a bounce here. And obviously you look at this to be a correction, ABC, wave 4, SFP is very classic as well in an ABC. This is like really good, nice textbook impulse down, ABC up to wave 4 territory, which is the 382 zone, right? Well, higher than the 382. I mean, this should be logarithmic, but minimum target is 382, and wave 4, hitting wave 4 for an SFP is very classic. So this is an easy read of an impulse, right? That's the impulse down, right? This is not looking at futures, because futures did create that liquidation on the 10th of October. So this is on spot. For Elliott wave theory, spot is better. So when we do zoom in here, the problem about detecting this movement up, where does the impulse finish? Where has it finished? Where is it going to finish? That there's a problem, because you don't have a solid wave 3, which is just a big push up here, right? A 4 and 5, where classic correction, overlap, right? Easy peasy. This is a long, right? And we go up for the wave 3 or the wave C. We don't have that, right? Unfortunately, which is this is why it's creating a bit of confusion. So there's many ways of counting this as an impulse, right? And there is the most bullish case, which would be this one, which is your wave here, A or 1, has finished right over here. You are looking to take out the highs. And this would be a sideways WXY, which can be counted, right? Because you have a flat in wave W. You got your push up, a very sharp, quick zigzag. And then you have an ABC down. If you form a flat in W, you can form a zigzag in Y. Very complex stuff, guys. I know whoever doesn't know about Elliott wave theory, this might be a little bit of a headache. But it is one of the possible scenarios. Flat in wave W, quick sharp X to the upside, zigzag down in wave Y, and now you're just building the impulse up to then just, you know, break out, which is what we're trying to detect here, right? It's important to take out the high wherever the price is going to reject to form an impulsive move here. If an impulsive move is formed here, you know, any correction here is going to be the long option. You're likely going to be forming a higher low and push up. What needs to happen? We need to take out the highs at 63.2 to form a 5-wave structure. Then obviously we're looking at wave 1, wave 2, and, you know, wave 3 to take out the highs, then 4 and 5. So this is why the next information, when you have such choppy, confusing, many options from the low, because this is only one option. There's other options that I want to discuss here. But this is the most important information is the next moves for me right now, to be confident to say, right, 3-wave down, impulse up. We're chopping here to the downside. This is highly likely going to push up. So we still have 1 to 2 days possibly here to be confident that, you know, we've got an impulse. We need to take out the highs again, which it does look like there's high probability on the lower time frame, as explained, that we do take out 63.2. And I want to be patient to see the correction. I don't think we're going to fly here with the push up to take out 64.6. What would make more sense and what would be more common is that you're finishing a wave 5 here locally to finish an impulse. After finishing an impulse, you are looking for a pullback for a wave 2, right? You do pull back most of the times. If it were to fly all the way up here to the highs, then, well, you know, this is trading, right? We sometimes we wait a couple of days for a scenario to come to us and map the situation, and then sometimes the price just wants to take a massive dump or a massive, and it just flies up. So, but this would be the most common way on, if this is the correct count, which is it's a complex sideways WXY. Then we need to finish the impulse, which we are just about to do so, right? Our last wave 5 here locally is what we are looking for. Then the pullback is going to be the moment to take action. If we move down, we bounce, then we move down, we overlap, right? There's no impulse detection on the correction. That's going to be the signal. It's going to be crystal clear that this is the moment to get into the trade. Because I am confused about what we have from the low to the high here, we've got several options. The most important information is the information that we are forming here throughout the last couple of days and the next 1 to 2 days. That's the most important information to then detect exactly what is the highest probability. So for this, yeah, I mean, without a doubt, there is a possibility for this. When will I be confident for this possibility to come to fruition so I can execute my trade? Is when we take out the highs here locally. Then I have an impulse. Tick. Impulse has been created to the upside. Any kind of pullback range will be studied very, very carefully, because in simple terms, when you know you have a correction is when you have a 3 wave down and you overlap your first lower high, because a wave 3 hasn't happened, right? You want 3, 4, and 5. This is the moment you know that this is highly likely a 3-wave corrective structure. You're looking for the highs to be taken, and the most bullish case you would be breaking in a wave 3. You're not longing the low, but you're longing a high probability entry to break the highs, and hopefully you do get follow through, right, in a wave 3, which would break to higher prices. Once you break the high, you're already protecting position. So if you enter this trade, right, and let's just imagine you got a 3-wave down, you're entering on the confirmation that this is a 3-wave move down. Once you break the highs, you cannot afford to lose that trade. You want follow through. You want this to be a wave 3, right, 4, 5. You want the price to push to higher prices. At levels of resistance, you're going to be taking profit, right, and the rest of it. But so as drawn here, right, very messy. This would be the long execution right there. Stop loss at the low would be more than enough. But in this case, because of the structure that we have of the last week, I would understand that, taking out the highs here is just highly likely. You're likely going to push through here. If we take out the local highs, we form this is highly likely a wave 1. It might be a wave A where you just take out the highs and you might form a cheeky flat here. But the highs is going to be the target at 64.7 from this long trade. Will it follow through? Well, then that's a bonus. But TP1 is going to be the highs. Okay, so that's what's needed here at the moment to be confident in a new long position. If you didn't catch the lows, of course. And let's talk about the other scenarios, right? This is a very, very valid scenario. Probabilities will increase once we get this information, which is creating one more high and getting an overlappy pullback. It requires patience. So we create these plans already. So the people inside of the community, we've been drawing today and yesterday many options on how to get into the trading execution. Okay, we do provide the options and what we would be looking for. Okay, we give the drawings and many scenarios every single day. For the moment, we did get the pullback. We are bouncing from the June point of control. Now we're waiting to see if we create the high, right? We prepare the community with education, with waves on how to get into the trade, which might be today, it might be tomorrow. We send information every single day to get ready for the setup, right? Just like the long that was given last week in this zone, which is a swing long. I'm more of a swing trader, so I'm looking for bigger projections. This was given inside of the trading community. This trade that is currently right now at $50,000 unrealized profit. This was a planned trade last week in the trading community. If you are interested in that, send me the word access. You got it in the pinned comment, guys, if you want to get into the trading community where I'm sharing high probability setups every single day. If it's not a trade that we get in today, it might be a trade that I get into tomorrow or after tomorrow. We wait for very, very solid information so then we can be confident in the trade setup. Okay, this is not a, it's not a community to attempt a short or a long and then, oh, stopped out, guys. Move to the next one. None of that BS community kind of thing, which is only high quality trades are given in the community. So if you're interested in that, it's in the pinned comment, okay? Pinned comment or the first link down below, which is the Telegram, okay? It's a community that is in the Telegram. Much love, A Trader. Thanks for the support. Let's go. Bulls are fighting. Yes, they are. They are trying to take out those highs, which on its own already has high probability that the highs would be taken. As explained on the lower time frame, you know, the bearish option is an expanding diagonal, which is not great. You're almost taking out the highs here. When we talk about probabilities, probabilities would suggest that those highs will be taken likely. I have seen before, not many times, an expanding, you know, diagonal and the price coming all the way up to almost take out the high, right? And then roll over. It does happen, not very often. One that I can remember is this price action that we had right over here. This was a cheeky push up after creating the SFP, right? This was back in $116,000 back in 2020, October 2025, where you got a back test of the SFP right there. So you SFP'd, you rolled down, squeezed up, and then you moved down right there, hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci, almost taking out the highs. I mean, it wasn't a diagonal, but sometimes you do push up. Yeah, this was more of an impulse down. You got your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave 3, your wave 4, and your wave 5. As you can see, your wave 4 did not overlap your wave 1, but it did overlap part of your wave 2, which was a flat, which is okay. Impulse down, very quick zigzag up here. And then boom, impulse to the downside. Double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Bang, smack back down. That was a cheeky pump. But it was a 1, 2 and a 1, 2 and then roll down. Right. We need to talk about the other scenarios, of course. Let's talk about the other scenarios. Bearish option here, which I do not like very, very much. But there always has to be a bearish option, right? Where the price does push down here. We form a lower high, right? And the price pushes down to the lows. Unfortunately for the bulls, right? For people that are in a swing long that would like to see a 3-wave move up to take out 67.2k. Unfortunately, there is a bearish case. It's not very, very nice, but a lower high here to then, take out the lows again, sub 57, 58k is there, even though the probabilities are not looking great, and I'll explain why. You need to fit, if you are looking for the price to move down again to the lows, you need to fit a 3-wave corrective structure in this bounce here. There is the ABC scenario, expanding flat, but if I were to fit a 3-wave corrective structure here, the only way I could do it is fitting this flat as a B wave. So that's your A wave, your B wave, and your C wave right there. It's the only way I could fit a solid 3-wave structure. Problem here is the C wave is very small compared to your A wave, which is usually your C wave hits the 1-to-1 or the 1, 2, 3, 6 extension of your A wave. That's the common target zone. This is your common target zone for a C wave. So it's very, very small, but there's no invalidation. It's just the most common zone. So this is not pretty. For it to be a ABC 3-wave structure, in that case, for this, the bearish option is that you are forming multiple 1-2s here. 1-2, right? You're looking for the breakdown, and another 1-2 here, which your invalidation is the lower high here at 64.2k. Preferably the high would be in for this case, because if you take out the high, then probabilities will increase that this is a 5-wave move up, meaning that probabilities are good for a corrective structure. The only way you could extend a little bit this wave 2 for this to be a correction is that if you have a 1, 2, 3 as a zigzag, then if you do take out the highs, you get back down. The only scenario would be a double zigzag here. Zigzag up in W, flat in wave X, for example, and another zigzag up in wave Y to then push down. But then your wave 2 would be extending in time much longer than the first wave 2. When you're forming multiple 1-2s, you really want similar in size wave 1s and 2s than your previous one. They usually get smaller, not longer. If they get longer, the probabilities decrease that you're looking for a multiple 1-2. So the longer it takes to form a wave 2 here, you can see the length of the second wave 1 and the wave 2. If wave 2 is going to be in, hopefully, it would be in already. You don't want this to extend in a double zigzag, because if you're going to have your wave 1 and 2, your second wave 1 and 2, much longer than your first 1 and 2, probabilities are down for this to be a double 1-2. And probabilities increase that this is, a correction that could be finished here and you're looking for it, you're looking for this basically to take out the highs. It is a bit of a headache. You need to have passion to understand the probabilities, but this is why I am a trader, I am a coach, I have a community, and we only look for these kind of successful trades. It is hard to follow up high probability setups when we consider Elliott wave theory. You can be a scalper and just short a point of control or a daily. That's all good and fun. But when we're looking for big projections, I turned into a swing trader ever since I, perfected Elliott wave theory throughout the last few years. It just gives you, it's more comfortable. You've got bigger projected moves, and if you're scalping the lower time frame in a very confusing range, it is a headache. For me, this is I used to scalp and day trade, but for me right now, this is just a bit of a headache when you're ranging and you're forming a looking for scalp entries, and whoever's trying to long and short this zone throughout the last 5 days is it's a little bit of a headache. Probably lots of stop losses have been hit in this range, right? If you're shorting the breakout, if you're longing, I don't know, it's just a very, very choppy $1,000 to $2,000 zone in the last 5 days, and unless you're scalping and you're very good at getting into these little scalps. We talked about a scalp a couple of days ago here, which was just it was a short trade from here to here. This was a few days ago inside of the trading community. Just 2 days ago, we got ready for a little intraday scalp short, which is rejecting from 63.6 to come down to 62.6, down to the lows basically, which played out very, very nicely, right? You got a high volume node. This could be an impulse on the lower time frame, and this is only $1,000 move, right? If we detect a scalp opportunity, I will provide it. If it's a high probability scalp for the day, I will give it. But I'm mainly more interested in bigger projected moves, right? And if you ask me, when is the bigger projected move going to happen after the next one, which was only that last week, right? This was a trade from last week. This long setup was from last week. There's only been 8 days since this long, right? Which has been a nice move of $6,000 plus, right? When is the next big move going to happen? Well, it could be happening throughout next week based on this scenario that I explained. When do I get into the high probability long setup? Is when we finish an impulsive move here to the upside, which we haven't done yet. It could be happening today, very likely. Take out those highs. This could be an impulse correction. Do we get it throughout the weekend? It would be awesome. I would be expecting Monday being bullish, because tomorrow, Friday, maybe it could be a lengthy correction throughout the weekend. We're gonna have to. We follow up, right? If the setup is given, and I do see, but this would be a big projection, because if this is the end of wave 1 or A, and this is the wave 2 or B, I would be expecting a push up, not only to the highs, but even to climb to higher prices. How does a wave 1 or a wave C develop? It develops with waves, right? When you get a push inside on the 5 minute, right, it just moves in waves. So I need the first impulsive confirmation to see if we are going to get the more waves to the upside here. This is where I want to look for the long. We still need an impulse here, which we haven't got yet. But I think we could be having that impulse before the end of the day. Meaning that the long will likely be throughout the weekend, I would assume here. We follow up, guys. But this would be the next big projection. This would be a possible pump of $3,000-$4,000. I'm not that interested in bothered of movements of 1,000. I'm interested in these moves. I'm interested in that move. I'm interested in the big projections. Me mainly, yeah. And that's what I really want to I like to share in the community, right? Once the big projection is confirmed based on the local information, the setup is given. The setup is given, like this one. There's no sugarcoating here. This is just full transparency of what happens inside of the trading community. The projection is given. This was the one from last week. When it's the signal is there, I share with it. I share with the community the setup. And this is a trade. This is going to be my monthly July income. So which hopefully will get up to 67. I've only scratched $5,000 of profit. If it does get above 67, this could be a $30,000 to $40,000 profit for July. So still have my reasons to hold this trade. There's no weakness confirmed. If I have to give you another reason, is that this is very one wavy. When you correct here, as explained, a 3-wave corrective structure here, the probabilities are not great. Your C wave is very small, so there's lots of red flags for the bears to form a lower high here and move down to the lows. If that is the case, it doesn't matter. I do have swing long plans ready. I know exactly what I'm looking for and how to get down here to get into the long. I'm already in a short from here, so that's okay. But the fact that we've moved in a very one-wavy matter here, very choppy. This could be wave 2 or wave B. So this could be a correction on a complex sideways WXY. But the fact that it looks very one-wavy, I see the probabilities of rolling down to the lows sub 58k as low probability. When you move up to then take out the low, you move in a 3-wave correction. You don't move up in one sideways and down. This is higher time frame, of course. You move in a 3-wave move. So what I am leaning on here is that the probabilities that this is either a wave 1 or a wave A for the moment has high probability, meaning that a higher low from 57.7k is highly likely, despite coming down to 60k, which we have the valley area low of the zone. I do expect that area to hold as support. We'll be watching the opportunities down here in the next coming days if we get down there. But as it stands, the probabilities of this being a wave 1 or A is higher at the moment, and the probabilities of forming a wave 2 or a wave B in this zone is likely at the moment. And that means one thing. That means that you're looking for the highs at 64.7. Sorry, 64.6, yeah, to be taken at some point. Is it going to be from here, or is it going to be from down here? Probabilities for this or this are higher at the moment rather than this. Just because of the information that we have based on the waves. Just the information is telling me that pushing up here, and for this to be a wave 1 or A and this 2 or B is higher at the moment. So this is why I remain 75% in that swing long still. Not because I want it. It's just because it's the probabilities when we do the Elliott wave count. It's not because I want it to be like that. It's just because the information that is in the chart is telling me that the probabilities of a 1 or a A is still very active. Probabilities of a 2 and a B here, a higher low is higher probability, and taking out the local highs is the target. In the corrections, you form a lot of noise, right? There's a lot of noise. It is a difficult range of the last few days. Very overlappy, very confusing. Andy, why don't you take a look at US dollar tether dominance daily? Perfect textbook Elliott wave theory and Wyckoff method insane. VSVP. Andy, you don't use MAs or EMAs? I do not know. I think I had Elliott wave all wrong. Thanks for the class. Much love, Sean. I do not use moving averages. I do not use them for my style of trading. Not that I think they are bad. Maybe you've built a strategy with EMAs, but you can see my charts are very clean. I use volume profiles, daily levels, pointer controls, Elliott wave theory, and my charts are very clean. CVD divergence I check once in a while, once I'm going to take a trade, because it helps me to see if there is absorption. But I remove a lot of noise on the chart. Remove a lot of noise. Price action, Elliott wave theory, market structure, and major volume levels, right? From volume profile. Order flow, sometimes I use, not much, not on the channel. But we are integrating soon order flow on mindpillar.com website. And I will start to use order flow a lot to see trap traders, right? If there is a strong breakout with high volume. This is going to be integrated in mindpillar.com, which is currently for free. You have CVD, you have liquidity, you have all-time high drawdown, heat map, economic calendar. There's all different tools here that you can use for free for your trading and information, guys. It is down below. Valuable free tools at mindpillar.com. It is free for the moment. It is probably going to be free for a little bit, for at least a few more weeks. But yeah, take advantage to use that, guys, at mindpillar.com. There's lots of valuable tools, and we are building more and more by the day here. Order flow is the next step. Speaking with some developers and everything, we're getting everything together, information, and they're designing order flow here. So we're making this a trading powerhouse at mindpillar.com, and order flow will be used more on the streams once we have it on mindpillar.com. Which order flow is really cool, because order flow is great for SFPs, because what you want to see at an SFP is a lot of shorts entering here, right? Which they become trapped. If you're shorting at a major point of control, at a major low, if you get lots of shorts and you get an instant reaction bounce, it's so good, because this is a zero-sum game, right? Where, you need to lose so I can win, right? Someone needs to lose so I can, get that money out of their pocket, literally, right? It's sad, but it is like that. So order flow helps you to identify if there is going to be, trap traders, and they're very good for SFP levels. And we'll be using that more as we integrate it in mindpillar.com. And there was actually, some shorts here in this zone that they got trapped. Short traders got trapped here. And those short traders they're shorted down here, they're paying me at the moment, right? So it is a sad game, guys, but you need to know how to play the game. I've always used the moving averages, but I'm willing to change my strategy because your clearly works better. It's not that mine works better. I just know how mine works, and there's a lot of strategies, lot of strategies out there. What is most important in trading is to stay consistent, and to stay consistent, something to that can help you to stay consistently profitable is that you realize that a lot of the times in trading, it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game till you have a clear trading opportunity. It's the most common mistake from newbies, right? Where you are going to trade. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have attempted longs and shorts and all sorts here throughout the last 5 days, right? And the probabilities of you winning every single trade in this range is it is actually pretty low. And it's not worth it. If you're going to get into 10 trades in the last 5 days, and 5 of them have been stopped out, or 6 of them, there's no big major projections here. It's going to be a losing week, right? It's going to be a losing zone, very, very likely. So unless you're getting into a good little scalp. We did find a little scalp here, but it's just a little trade. But it's very, very difficult when the range is confusing and you just want to overtrade. The probabilities are higher that you're going to lose. So if you want to stay consistent, you just need a very, very good high quality trade, which might be once or twice a week. The reality is 2 trades a week is good. If they're in the green, you're going to end up in a green week. If you're a swing trader, you might take 2 trades a month. Why does it take so long to take the highs? Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it is the middle of the summer, right? Volatility is low. It's just, yeah, market's been a bit slow here. It just takes time, unfortunately. But I have a little aggressive short scalp, as explained. We just need to pop out here. Golden pocket, high volume node. I will attempt that short if we do get it. Golden pocket. It makes sense for a wave 5 here. Always aware. I mean, we need a reaction. I wouldn't put my stop loss very far away here. And it's only for a little 2-to-1, maybe 3-to-1 risk reward. You're speculating on a correction. I'm more interested later on in the long trade. This is the one that I will go heavy in. But I need this price action, right? I need the highs to get into the short. I need the confluence area to get in the short. Risk management, projection, 382 Fibonacci, perfect. I need to identify a correction so I can get into the long. And once this is identified, if it is going to be in the next 1 to 2 days, maybe into the weekend, I think that we will have a bullish week next week if price moves as so. If we get this kind of price action, I do strongly believe that the correction could have been finished already at the lows of yesterday. Difficult long, but I would say 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, right? And then we go down. But overall, I would be looking for the long trade for the breakout. So it's a waiting game at the moment. A lot of people were bearish yesterday, believing that somebody was saying that the impulse is not finished, that we're likely going to get down to 61K, and there's no high probability scenario here. We discussed, if it's a wave 4, then we need another low. Then an SFP from here would be interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't get that. There's a long here, but this could be an ABC. We might be pumping up here, which we did, right? It's just there's no identifiable high probability scenario in the last couple of days, at least for me. There was just a short trade scalp down to the lows. We discussed that an ABC flat here was possible if you wanted to short the 64K zone to then take out the lows, which it did. Nothing much here, and now we need to form that finished impulse and get the correction. This is what I would be looking for. Right, let's go. Smash up the like. Let's do a like button recount, legends. Much love to everyone. Thanks for joining the stream today. Woo! 280 likes. Awesome. Wow, almost 300 likes. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks, guys. Why does it take so long to take out the highs? We do not know. We do not know. The community rocks, says Canada. My trading has improved so much. Well worth it. Andy and Devot are legends. Thank you so much for the kind words. Canada, thank you so much. The community rocks. That's what we like to see, right? You can be totally honest. If you think it's bad, you just say, right, what's needed, what we like to speak to the people in the community as well to say, you know, what we would like us to improve based on information, education. But there's a lot of people that are happy with the community. It does help them to guide, right? Because at the end of the day, we try and guide people with, you know, scenarios that could happen, important levels, risk management. Risk management is something that needs to be repeated every single day, because then we do get people that, such as the beginning of this stream, right? I'm in a long on XRP from $1.22. He has no stop loss, no invalidation. Can you please help me? And we need invalidations. We always give invalidations as a stop loss in the community. There's no setup with no invalidation, and the setups that we give, that me or Devil are going to take, right? The trades that we are looking to take ourselves, we try and only give high probability setups. There will be a stop loss once in a while, but not too often. I must say the community is really well organized. The only thing missing, considering your trading style, is an affiliation with a prop firm. Message Devil about it. Yeah, prop firms could be interesting. We would be looking into prop firms just to get the great deals for you guys, such as, you know, 50% discount and all of that. We will be looking into prop firms as well. I'm not too fussy about prop firms, because if you are good at trading, it doesn't really matter if it's a prop firm or your money, but I guess prop firms do give the advantage to people that have low capital, to give them a chance to trade with high capital, which is good. I'm not. There needs to be a legit prop firm as well. We know how prop firms can work. We don't know how legit a prop firm can be, right? There's many prop firms that have disappeared off the face of the earth, right? Because the way that prop firms work is that they pay out with new people that coming, right? It is a bit of a pyramid scheme. So we need to be careful. I do know a lot of prop firms that have disappeared because they end up getting good traders that are, you know, withdrawing lots of capital, and then they end up bankrupt basically because they need to pay with failing attempts, right? Can you analyze gram US dollar tether? Susha, what is that? If wave 4 takes out the low again, what scenario would it be? If wave 4 takes out the low again, what scenarios would it be? Mohammed, what wave 4? This wave 4? As long as you do not overlap here, as long as the price does not so for this scenario, as long as you don't overlap your wave 1, which is here, yeah, the only bullish count you would have, I mean, could you form a cheeky flat here just by taking out the low without taking out without overlapping wave 1? If you take out this low, the only bullish probability, the only bullish scenario that you would have left is a multiple 1-2, which is not great because your second wave 1 is much longer. So the probabilities, if you get down below 62, 0.3k, which if you don't take out the local highs at 63.2 and you take out the lows, probabilities will be higher that this has been overall a three-wave ABC. Because your only bullish option is a double 1-2, which has lower probabilities because your second wave 1 is longer than your first wave 1. So I'm not sure if this is the wave 4 that you are talking about in the comment section, but Gram is Telegram coin. Okay, Telegram coin. Been following you since 2024. Very good setups. Keshav 3567. Thank you so much for the kind words. Wayne says, after joining Mind Pillar is the first time I have been profitable instead of following signal groups. Also, big lessons was to only trade BTC. I would advise people to join to learn the right way. Wayne, thank you so much for the kind words, my man. Awesome to see people thriving. I know Path Maria is, she's a beast. She's on now because she's on holiday, she's away. But she's been on the stream every single day for the last 3-4 months. And the level of learning that she has is outstanding. It's incredible. She's even sends me screenshots of the trades that she's taken based on the analysis and levels, and it's insane. I'm like, wow, I've never seen someone learn so fast, such as Path Maria. She's usually in the stream, but she's away now, so she's been very, very consistent with the learning and understanding patience, understanding risk management, understanding invalidations, entries, all of the tools that you need to trade successfully. She's understand all of them, and she's applying every single one of them, and she's extremely successful now trading. And she already knew about trading and analyzing, but she said, when I had the conversation with her, she said, I've been following this guy, this other guy, I'm not going to mention any names, and just felt very confused with their strategies, not, basically making good trades. And right now she's absolutely killing it. It seems like that she's cracked the code. Yes, it was. Thank you, Mohammed. You're very welcome. Appreciate you and Devalt. Thank you so much, Ilrich. Yeah, we try and do our best. Sometimes it can be frustrating because we are patient and we just look for good, solid setups. But that's how trading is, really. There can be many, many times where you can see something that I don't see. Maybe this lower high that I didn't take, I knew it was possible for an ABC flat here. Maybe you took the short, I didn't. Maybe you were confident, you knew your risk management, you knew your invalidation. Maybe you decreased risk with stop loss at the 0.88. Maybe you took the short here that we talked about a few days ago on a stream on Tuesday. And I did see it, I just didn't feel comfortable in taking it. But it was valid. Your invalidation is the high. And sometimes you're going to see things that I don't see. And this is why I usually have, because Devil is away. Devil and I like to take, we have a call on Mondays usually to start off the week. And it's Devil and I have similar, not the same, but similar ways of analyzing. We use Elliott Wave, we use levels. Devil has a more aggressive way of scalping. He likes a lot the Fibonacci extensions, Fibonacci retracement a lot for his trading decisions. And we have a call usually every week. Right now, obviously this week we didn't because he's on holiday. But it's really, really good because we brainstorm the analysis on the 4 hourly, 1 hour, 15 minute. We share everything. What do you see? What do I see? This, that, what makes more sense? What has a higher probability? And then bang, we've got the trading week plan ready, right? which is awesome. This is why I onboarded Devil, because Devil is awesome, right? You know him. He is awesome. And we usually get into a call every week just to look for the setups. We combine our analysis, which is very similar. But sometimes I see something that Devil doesn't see, and sometimes Devil sees something that I don't see. And this is why it's really is great to have a successful trader analyst, right, as a partner here on YouTube and in the community, because we just combine forces. We are stronger together, right, than only me or only Devilt. Thank you for your effort. You are a beast in trading. Chabo, thank you so much. I have been following many influencers, but since I know about you, I'm never missing live streams. That's my 7 days. I wish I knew you before. After I finish from XRP problem, I'm joining your community. Charbel, my man, yeah. It's sorry to hear about the XRP trade. You might be lucky, and you might, I mean, it's not about luck, right? Trading is not about luck. I feel bad saying you might be lucky and you might get to break even, but it's we need hard invalidations and we need stop losses. You cannot afford to have a trade underwater, especially if you're using cross margin, which your liquidation is your entire account, right? And hope for a reversal, all of that. You need to eliminate that as soon as possible. Okay, your bad habits need to be eliminated straight away. I eliminated that bad habit in 2019. Since then, I've never gone back to any bad habits. Never, right? And I like to talk about the angel and the demon. In trading, we have an angel and a demon, right? Because trading can be very emotional. And you have the demon. We all have a demon and an angel. The demon is going to say, get into a long and I just add to the position if we go lower, right? Screw stop losses. It's going to play out. And the demon is going to get you wrecked, right? The demon is going to get you wrecked. The angel is going to tell you, plan your trades, analyze the price action, analyze where the best levels are, look at the waves, look at the levels of support, and only trade the level. Have a stop loss if there's, you get a reaction as a fake out, for example. Always follow a trading plan. You can have a few short trading plans. That's okay. You can have a few long trading plans. This is a massive level. What needs to happen? You need to react from it. Where's your stop loss? Always at the fake out. Always create a plan. The angel is going to say, right? Follow the angel all the time and you'll be okay. The demon is going to say, screw that. Don't listen to the angel. This is going to roll down. Get into a short. It's going to be a lower high. If it pumps up, add a little bit to the position. Have a stop loss somewhere up here. It's not going to get reached. And then the bullish case scenario happens and you get wrecked, right? So Andy is the angel. Thanks so much, my man. Much love. Have you and Devil ever met in person, considering you living in Dubai, now Spain, and him in South Africa? When I was living in Dubai, Devil did come for almost a month. This was back in 2024 or 2025. I'm not sure now. But Devil did come to Dubai for almost a month. Yeah, we did. I did meet Devil in person in Dubai. And it was awesome. Awesome. We did actually a few collaborations. Let me just... I'm sure there is a stream that we did do. Yeah, let me just try and look for... Yeah, let's go right away and try and find. I'm sure it's on the thumbnail, but I'm pretty sure we did do a stream together. This must have been in 2025. Well, yeah, it's going to take some time to look for this. Much love, legends. Much love, legend. Right. So price is just stuck here. Very classic for the stream. Just stuck. What can we do? I'm trying to look for this stream. There it is. Right now, of course, yeah. This was a stream that we did, yeah, 2 years ago now. There he is. That was, yeah, June 2024. June 2024. He came to Dubai, and we didn't do much streams together, but yeah, we have met in person. Right. Path is a mathematician, artist, but she told us she's only starting to learn how to count from 1 to 5 since she found you guys. I was sold when I saw her results. Yeah, she's doing it. She's doing awesome. She's doing really good. Do you have any day in life vlogs? In the day life vlogs? I do not. No. I try and keep my life quite personal. I'm not, even living in Dubai, I did not create any life vlogs. I wasn't, I like to keep my life a bit private. And even though living in Dubai, right, I was surrounded with a few of these Dubai crypto guys, which I wasn't particularly very friendly with. With some of them, yes. Some, not everybody is bad, but I just didn't like that kind of way of exposing myself. You want to see the trading, you want to see the analysis, you want to be in the community, you want to see the results. That's where you, not, flashy cars and, being on yachts and all of that. Not the way how I like to be exposed to people. My plan for the next 3 months for BTC is bearish. What do you think? Will be long after September. Will be long after September. Well, yeah. Seems like it's going to take out the local low, says Puria Beat. It is a possibility. We barely missed that high. On the higher time frame, you are bearish for the next 3 months. I mean, this is following the 4-year cycle theory, right? Obviously, in 3 months, we got August, September, and October. Going through the 4-year cycle theory, it's October it would be the zone, right? October, November, give or take, September to November would be the zone where we would be looking for the lows to happen, right? We haven't got too much time when we do consider the bear market, to the price action of Bitcoin to get down to much lower prices for October, when we consider Elliott wave as well. I am leaning still bearish. I do believe that the bear market low is not in. So I'm with you here. It does make sense. If this were to roll over from here already, it would be a shallow wave 2. But I am looking for, another push down throughout the next couple of months. This is what would make more sense. Not only with Elliott wave theory, but also considering that the 4-year cycle theory has been pretty accurate throughout the previous cycles. Usually from the all-time high, right? It is a 1-year bear market. I would say it's too easy to follow this strategy, right? So will it happen again? Will we be lucky for this bear market to be, almost exactly 1 year? This was 1 year and 10 days of bear market from November of 2021 to November of 2022. Exactly 1 year, right? Well, give or take, those 10 days, 1 or 2 weeks difference. But around about 1 year of a bear market. Cycle before that, it was the same thing, right? December of 2017 we peaked, and we bottomed in December of 2018. 1 year. Will it be the same? Will it be 1 year this time, right? Another tool that we would use is the all-time high drawdown. The drawdown from the previous 2 cycles, even 3 cycles, right? 3 cycles ago, we had an 85% drawdown from all-time high. Price moved down 85% from all-time high. The one in 2018, we moved down 84% from all-time high. And the previous one, right, in 2022, 77. So it is diminishing, okay? Now we've only retraced. Now we only have a 54% drawdown. No, not even that, 53. Right? So if we were to follow the average drawdown, I would say 70% would be acceptable because it is going lower. It's a much mature asset, of course, much more liquidity. Market cap is way higher than the previous cycles, of course. So 60 to 70% drawdown would make sense, which would bring the price to $50,000, even $40,000 as a potential low zone where the price could bottom out, right? 30,000 if we want to go aggressive. So it's only 53% drawdown. And it's been pretty brutal. It's been an 80% average on the previous cycles. So with that theory and with the 4-year cycle, 1 year bear market theory, you would come to the conclusion that, yeah, coming down to round about, $40,000, it would make sense. That would be a 70%. For it to be in October, November. Right? Is it going to be the same as the previous cycles? If it is going to be so, that's where we would be looking for the bottom formation. Will we follow previous cycles? Well, we have done, right? So there's nothing that is breaking the bear market as of yet. When we consider Elliott wave theory, it does make sense for an ABC. Just a classic A, B, and C down. This would be the overall point of view, because you do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C. You got a nice impulse here. Now you would have the impulse down here, which in the most bearish case would be your wave 1, right? Now we're busy with wave 2 to then 3, 4, and 5, right, into October. This is what would make more sense. Just a classic ABC. We just finished our wave 1 in wave C. We're busy with wave 2 at the moment, which can take still a few weeks, and then break down at some point. It fits in nicely with Elliott Wave. It fits nice with the drawdown. It fits nice with the 1 year bear market heading into October, right? To go lower. I do favor that we do go lower in the coming months. However, I do have some spot Bitcoin already. I have already bought some spot Bitcoin, and I would only be happy to buy more to the downside. I'm reserved right now till we do not lose the low. I'm not buying any more as a DCA strategy, right? Because overall, it doesn't matter where you bought in the zone. If in the next coming years, you're going to be trading at $170,000, right? It's just, you need an average entry price. I know we want to try and buy the exact low, guys, but better safe than sorry. This would be cheeky. Imagine that this is the low of the C wave, right? This would be valid as an ABC. However, it would be very uncommon to have a very small C wave that just got beneath the low here. There's the WXY as well, which we did mention on previous streams, but I mean, we're going to have to follow up the local price action on the 4 hourly, 1 hourly, right, as we go. We are mainly day traders here, so we look to make gains for the month, right, or for the week, right? We really do our best to try and make gains trading the market. That's what we try and do our best here, of course. We don't try, we do we do trade the market very successfully. And regarding investment, it's just like, I have gold, I have Bitcoin, I have, do we go lower? Then I'll buy a bit more, of course. But after a 50% discount from all-time high, it is not a bad idea, in my opinion, to DCA. Buy a bit this month, buy a bit next month. If we lose the low and head to the low 50s, we've got good discount then. Buy a bit more then, right? Because you're obviously going to have a range. I started buying Bitcoin in the previous bear market. This was publicly said on the channel. I started the channel in September of 2020, mid 2020 into the bull run. Bull run was starting. And I said where I sold publicly on the channel, I sold 25% of all of my crypto right over here. This was a very, very detectable distribution, Wyckoff distribution right there. And this was the perfect exit. Perfect exit here, or enter short. And, why didn't you sell everything? Well, this is the thing. You need to DCA in and DCA out. You always create some little mistakes. My mistake is never selling Chainlink, for example. That's the only altcoin that I never sold. So, but it is, I got married, right? That's what they say. Never marry an asset, a stock or a crypto. Never marry any investment. I married Chainlink. That was my mistake. So... But it doesn't matter. It's not that I was all in on Chainlink. I made significant profits on Bitcoin holdings. And this is publicly on the channel. I did say selling 25% of all of my crypto, except for Chainlink here. And obviously this was, coming from buying crypto for the last couple of years in the bear market. And then in the previous bear market, the strategy for spot buying was losing 30K. Once 30K was lost, it was buy. And you might think, I bought some at 25K, I bought at 20K, I bought a bit at 18K, I bought again in this zone. The moment I stopped buying was when we break above $30,000 successfully. So I had a lot of time to buy Bitcoin in this zone. A long time, many months. And with that said, I think there's, it's not a bad idea to start accumulating where we are at the moment. And there will likely be a pretty long range, but this is something that we don't know. So, to be honest, I really don't know, right? But it's not a bad idea to accumulate, because whatever you buy in this zone, right, if you do end up dropping down, right, there will be a moment that you will be at significant profits, right? You will break all-time high. So you got an average buying zone. I didn't really care if I bought at 24 or at 18. It's just impossible to buy everything at the low. Once you're at all-time high, it doesn't really matter the average price that you entered. You just want to buy low. You want to start buying when you're down 50%, 60%, 70%. There will be a moment that it will recover and head up to all-time high. But yeah, I do favor that the bear market low is not in, according to many factors, right? Elliott wave theory, the drawdown from all-time highs, and the 4-year cycle theory, which would be looking for October to bottom out. But I am aware that things can change, right? I am aware that too many people know about the 4-year cycle theory. Too many people know about the drawdown. Too many people know about, I'll buy in October when we hit the lows. It's like, yeah, are you sure? Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I already, bought some spot Bitcoin throughout the last few months because too many people are aware of the cycle. My mistake was married too many of the bad ones at the same time, says Sean. 1-to-1 extension of C to A in bear market is 16,000. Yeah, 1-to-1 extension there. This would have to be looked on the logarithmic. But yeah, that would be pretty brutal, right? Yeah, logarithmic. You need to look at the logarithmic chart, okay? When the percentage move is over 20%, you need to look at Fibonacci with the logarithmic, okay? Because, if you look at regular, then, it doesn't make sense, okay? On the regular chart, the 1-to-1 extension is down at 16K. When the movements are very long and you have over a 20% move, you need to start looking at projections with Fibonacci and Fibonacci retracement, always on the logarithmic. And the 1-to-1 extension is down at 40K, which makes a lot of sense. 40K, 33K, 1.236. That would be the most aggressive scenario, in my opinion. One-to-one to the 1.236 is 40K basically down to 33K, which is the common C wave target area, right? So yes, sir, Stephen, logarithmic. Yes, sir. When the percentage move is more than 20%, we want to flip to logarithmic. Well, during the last cycle, everyone was sure that we wouldn't fall below 28K, but we fell to 16K. I'm not sure about that. I remember that a lot of people were calling for 10K in the previous cycle. When we were crashing down with the FTX collapse, that was literally the trigger for the bear market low, right? You need it. It's really nice to have something devastating happening, right? So maybe, Michael Saylor, right, getting liquidated, right, and having to be forced to sell, most of his Bitcoin holdings, that would bring a massive drop. I can tell you that, right? a big drop. That would bring a big drop, of course, for the price of Bitcoin. If Michael Saylor needs to liquidate all of his Bitcoin, which is, I don't even know how many he has at the moment, but I know it's more than 3% of the entire supply, I think. And create a devastating collapse, which would be a clear signal that the low is almost in. Having a devastating news, and especially here when there's already 1 year of a bear market, is perfect for major bad news, is perfect for a bottom formation, right? The C19 crash back in March of 2020. Perfect moment to buy as much as you can of anything, really. Here you could have bought, any stock, any crypto, anything. This devastating collapse based on the C19, right, the virus that we had, was the best opportunity of 2020. The FTX collapse, when we talk about crypto, in November of 2022 was the collapse that brought the bottom. This was already in, right? If you have bad news at all-time high, then it's not going to be the bottom, right? But when you've been so bearish already in a bear market for almost a year, and you get bad news to the end of the cycle, then that that the low is in, or very, very close of being in. So hopefully we can get some bad news in the next coming months. Not bad news to harm anyone, just to get a good opportunity for buying, right? And we'll be paying attention to that, because the FTX collapse was a great opportunity to buy here for a few weeks. I remember people calling for 10K here. Lots of people, even famous YouTube crypto influencers, were calling for lower. Anyway, legends, much love to everyone. Sell in the dips, buy in the pumps. Yes. In 2022 bear market, the C wave extended between 1382 and 1.618 of A. Yeah, it depends on how you take a look at this. I remember analyzing this. So yeah, if you're going to look at this as the extension, we are in the logarithmic. If you look at this as an ABC, yeah, 1382 was reached. Yeah. If you are looking at this as an ABC, however, some analysts, I know, kind of both options are valid. An ABC flat here was also kind of valid. So you moved in an impulsive move. ABC flat. This pump up was very three wavy. So there's several counts here on this bear market. I remember either an ABC flat or the ABC here, which is also valid, which extended quite a bit. But anyway, that's all entertainment. Can Saylor even get liquidated? Well, he says he can't, but I'm sure he would be forced at some level, I'm sure. I think the bad news could come about the Clarity Act. Very possible. That's very possible. Yeah. Guys, thank you very much for joining today's stream. Okay, it's been a pleasure. I will be updating if I do see anything valuable or any good trading setup inside of the trading community. Okay. For the moment, very, very rangy. We have the scenario of three wave up, double 1-2. Bearish option is moving down. We need to overlap that pivot, form some kind of an impulse down. Let's see if the bounce could bring us the opportunity. If not, we claim the highs, we form an impulse, we get the correction, we have a confirmation throughout the weekend, very possibly, to take out the highs. Okay, so we'll be informing the trading community. Remember, if you are interested, you got the pinned comment. You got the first link down below. You need to sign up to Bluffin Weeks 2-bit. You get the greatest bonuses, guys, with the links down below. There's great bonuses for the traders with the links down below. There's great exchanges. They're all really good. And if you do a minimum deposit, you get access for free, of course, inside of the trading community. It's the Telegram. Send me the word access down below, first link or pin comment. What comes first for Bitcoin, 65K or 60K? 47% say 65. 53% says 60. It's a bit of a 50-50 here. Legends, thank you ever so much. Singularity, Stephen, Sean, thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one.